between me and the other girl, and then moving all the way to Alabama with the girl. But he wanted to talk about one time when he had kids and they were looking for me. They were looking for you all the time. While he was doing all that research trying to figure out who I was talking to, he failed to tell anybody that he was engaged to this girl.
What?
While he was still married.
Why would you put me on child support if I'm supporting my child already?
You help diapers here and there. I've been doing it since day one, Tony, so don't try that.
You have been coming around lately because
why? Because she keeps moving and people get tired reaching out. Here.
She has reached out to you plenty of times.
This case is a wild ride from the start. Judge Lake kicks things off with Carr v. Villa, where Mr. Carr claims Ms. Villa is a serial cheater who's dodged a DNA test for 3 years. Ms. Villa admits to mistakes but insists Mr. Carr is the father. If you think that's messy, just wait. It's about to get worse than a toddler with cake.
Mr. Carr, you state that Ms. Villa is a notorious cheater who tried to pin her daughter Trinity on you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim there is no way you are the father and had to open today's case because she's been running from you and a DNA test for 3 years.
From a Facebook message to a paternity lawsuit, things escalated fast. Mr. Carr calls Ms. Villa a liar, but admits he kept taking her back. Ms. Villa explains it started as a one-night stand. Then, boom, a baby. Judge Lake is shocked, and even Jerome is nodding like, this is crazy.
He hit me up on Facebook, and it went from a one-night stand to us having a kid.
Wow, that is a huge jump, Jerome. And it turned into a relationship from just meeting on Facebook. What is this, love at first sight for you all? Like, what you were just
No, Your Honor.
We want to do this?
The problem was I couldn't get rid of her, Your Honor.
Things go from bad to worse fast. Ms. Villa proudly says she always admitted when she cheated, as if that helps. Mr. Carr insists she cheated with 8 guys, basically a whole basketball team. Ms. Villa argues it was just one guy, but the real mess begins when they debate the baby's conception timeline.
So how did you find out she was cheating on you?
I told him each time he would let me leave, and I would come back and I let him know that I did it. And he still took me back.
And what would you let him know, Miss Villa?
That I messed around with the person I left with.
No, Your Honor. She cheated 8 different times with 8 different people.
8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the beginning, no.
Hold on.
Math lovers, prepare to be confused. Mr. Carr says Ms. Villa told him she was pregnant 3 days after they hooked up. He swears the dates don't add up. Ms. Villa is certain the baby was conceived in the backseat of a car while his friend was driving. Yes, really. Then, the argument shifts to the baby's due date.
The times of conception was she slept with a man on the 31st of January.
Tony,
me and her slept together on February the 14th. 3 days later, the 17th, she tells me that she's pregnant. I'm like, how are you pregnant?
Tony, you're a liar.
So you have sex 3 days later and she tells you, now I'm pregnant.
Yes.
So you thinking like, how do you know you pregnant 3 days after we just have sex?
Exactly.
Now it's science time, and it's more confusing than a pop quiz. Mr. Carr insists the Halloween birth date means the baby belongs to the other guy. Ms. Villa swears she was born early, making Mr. Carr the father. Judge Lake just nods like, y'all need a calendar.
If you have your child on October the 31st, that means that it is the other man's
You're a
child.
liar. Trinity was
Because that's
due
exactly 9
November
months.
21st. I had her 3 weeks early.
So you're saying the conception window is off, Miss Villa, because since Trinity was born early, you technically would have had a due date of 3 weeks later than
Yes,
that.
she was due November 21st of 2015. I had her October 31st.
From yelling to crying, Mr. Carr says he's been raising a child who might not be his. He loves her but fears the truth. Ms. Villa tells him he didn't have to stay. Bad timing. Just when emotions hit their peak, Mr. Carr reveals all the times he tried to get a DNA test.
Do you have a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm with her every day of the week, just about. I play my role as a father. No matter what it is, no matter how much pain, I still treat her like she's my own child.
And that hurts you.
Because I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve to go through what I went through.
But you kept taking me back.
Ms. Villa dodging a DNA test could be an Olympic sport. Mr. Carr shows proof of her moving cities every time he tried. She claims she moved for the baby, which makes no sense. Then, her best friend jumps in and spills the real tea.
So you say she's been running away from a DNA test?
I was in Alabama. She was in Tampa, Florida. I tried to hook the cases together. As soon as she received the letter, she moves from Tampa, Florida to Muscle Shoals, Alabama. That's when we stayed together for the little bit that we did. From Decatur, Alabama, she moves from Decatur to Chicago, Illinois.
And boom, Everything falls apart. Ms. Villa's best friend admits she had a one-night stand during conception time. The courtroom gasps. Judge Lake gives her the "you did not just lie" look. Ms. Villa scrambles for an excuse, but now everyone just wants those DNA results.
A couple of times she's complained to me that he has not been wanting it.
Why would you put me on child support if I'm supporting my child already?
You help diapers here and there. I've been doing it since day one, Tony, so don't try that.
You have been coming around lately because
why? Because she keeps moving and people get tired reaching out. Here.
She has reached out to you plenty of times.
You could hear a pin drop. Judge Lake opens the envelope.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Carr, you are the father.
This case was wild before it even began. Mr. Thompson walked in, hoping to save his 11-year marriage, but things already looked bad. Doubting if newborn Micah was his, he wanted a DNA test, while Mrs. Pate Thompson prayed he was the father, because otherwise things would get messy.
Mr. Thompson, you are in court today in hopes of saving your 11-year marriage. Your wife has a newborn, 4-month-old Micah Pate Thompson, who you hope is your baby, but say your doubts are overwhelming.
Yes, Your Honor.
Their marriage was beyond rocky. More like a crumbling sandcastle. They hadn't shared a room in months, and Mr. Thompson complained about her not cooking, cleaning, or working. Despite the chaos, he still wanted to be Micah's dad, but the doubt was eating him alive.
The encouraged side of our relationship is it's rocky. We don't sleep in the same bedroom. We haven't slept in the same bedroom in years. We haven't had sex probably in about 7-8 months. She don't like to cook, she don't like to clean, she don't like to work. It's a lot going on, other than Micah. So every marriage is not perfect, but it's a lot going on.
Their love story and marriage. It started like a rom-com, but turned into a reality TV disaster. They met in college, and after an unexpected pregnancy, his mom suggested they marry. Their chaotic wedding involved nachos, drinks, and a quick counseling session. It wasn't happily ever after, but definitely what just happened.
We met in college. We had a class together, and he sat behind me, cracking jokes, trying to copy off my test. Next thing you know, we were talking and we were together in a relationship. You couldn't see him without seeing me.
Mr. Thompson, you met and you were very happy together.
Yes, ma'am.
You decided to get married.
She ended up eventually moving in with me and my family.
First signs of infidelity. If red flags were alarms, theirs would be deafening. Mr. Thompson caught her texting other men and started DNA testing their kids. He felt like he was in a never-ending episode of Are You the Father? And sadly, the drama was just beginning.
What went wrong was when me and LaToya first started getting into marriage and stuff like that, I had found out she was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. Text messaging, meeting up with guys and stuff like that. So when I confronted her, she said it wasn't true. Found out otherwise. I had to get DNA tests on my first 2 boys by her. We married, but every time, while we're in a marriage, and every time you get pregnant, I gotta get a DNA test.
Separation and moving on, their break only made things worse. Mr. Thompson moved out while Mrs. Pate Thompson made new online friends, like a full-time job. Meanwhile, he stalked her social media like a detective, and what he found was jaw-dropping.
When I left, she said she was gonna work on herself. Me and her had ample
While he was
conversations
with somebody else.
about her working on herself because she deleted me off social media. I found out she started adding all these other dudes to her social media page.
Because you were gone, you were living with somebody else.
She didn't want to move on. She said she was gonna work on.
Were you all planning to get a divorce?
Nah.
Yes.
When she said she had a job interview in Atlanta, Mr. Thompson wasn't buying it. She ignored his calls, and when she finally confessed the truth, it was exactly what he suspected, and then some.
So she goes to Atlanta. Me and my other 2 boys, we went out, dinner, movie, we out hanging out. She called me, I missed the call. Called her back, she didn't answer, I'm texting her. She was texting, but she not calling. She said she in a job interview. It don't make no sense. Why are you texting me in a job interview, but you can't pick your phone up? She was like, well, we went out, and my friend took my phone, and she said, we out, so you don't need to be on the phone. I'm like, man, you married, you got kids, and what woman gonna tell you some trash like that?
A second trip to Atlanta and more doubts. The second trip had him in full investigator mode. He checked phone records and found a mystery Atlanta number. Turns out it was a guy. Her explanation? As believable as a cat denying it knocked over a cup.
Go back to Atlanta the second time. So I was like, okay, once again, I know what you're going to do. So I was like, let me go ahead and let you go so I can compile me a little bit of evidence. In the email, there's nothing in there. One Atlanta phone number that keep popping up. And I researched phone number that's coming back to a gentleman. So when she finally called me, so what you out there doing? I was like, so I'm looking at the phone bill and this one Atlanta number keep popping up and it's from a male. She was like, one of my friends. Yeah, it's a male.
Plot twist. He wasn't so innocent either. Mrs. Pate Thompson revealed he was engaged to another woman. He tried to deny it, then straight up admitted it. If bad decisions were a sport, they'd both win gold.
Between me and the other girl, and then moving all the way to Alabama with the girl. But he wanted to talk about one time when he had kids and they were looking for me. They were looking for you all the time. While he was doing all that research trying to figure out who I was talking to, he failed to tell anybody that he was engaged to this girl.
What?
While he was still married.
Turns out, Mrs. Pate Thompson first told another guy he was Micah's dad. Mr. Thompson remembered sleeping with her once during that time, but was too drunk to be sure. The question remained, was Micah really his?
The point when you found out you were pregnant with Micah.
The first person I told was the other guy. The timeline and the way, the conception and everything, I was thinking it was the other guy because I wasn't with Marcus at the time.
We had sex one time in that time frame. I don't know if it was before the first time she went to Atlanta or when she came back, but she said it was another time. I don't know, I was drunk anyway, so I don't know which time it was.
Despite everything, Mr. Thompson tried to be there for Micah. He missed the birth due to work, but later stepped up as a father. However, he never signed the birth certificate. His doubts were too strong.
It was a struggle for me to even get her to let me come to a doctor's appointment. And she was just like, I didn't think you want to go because of the situation. At the end of the day, I'm a man before anything, and if I'm gonna be that boy's father, I don't want to miss out on nothing. I missed the birth of the baby because I was out of town for work. You know, I went straight to the hospital. I was watching the baby, you know, doing all types. The only thing I didn't do was sign the birth certificate.
The results were in, and the courtroom held its breath.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Thompson, you are not the father.
Okay, so this one was wild right from the start. The case of Lyde versus Ellis is introduced. And right away, we find out Danielle Lyde has believed for 26 years that Mr. Ellis is her dad. But Mr. Ellis? Nope, he says that's impossible. Claims her mom was out partying and cheating. The way this man is so confident, oh, he's in for a big surprise.
Ms. Lyde, you say that for 26 years you have known only one man, the defendant, Mr. Ellis, to be your biological father. And you're devastated that he is claiming you're not his. You say that Ms. Lyde's mother was unfaithful during your 7-year relationship and that you are certain you are not Ms. Lyde's biological father.
Oh man, this part was straight up heartbreaking. Danielle Lyde talks about how rough her childhood was. No dad, bouncing between foster homes, no male role model at all. She says it was tough, and honestly, you could feel the hurt in her voice. But before you can even start to feel too bad, Mr. Ellis comes in with some next level nonsense.
I didn't really have a relationship with Mr. Ellis. Growing up, it was just me and my mom. I've been in and out of group homes, foster homes, no male role model in my life. It's been hard. I had a long, hard life growing up.
When you hear her talk about her life without you.
Now this was the moment where everyone watching just collectively sighed. Mr. Ellis says he doesn't believe Danielle is his daughter because she's too light-skinned for him to be the dad. He also says her mom was disappearing for weeks at a time, so obviously she must have been with other men. Oh buddy, the logic here is as thin as a single piece of toilet paper.
I'm not her father. I mean, her mother, she disappears weeks at a time, out there partying. Look bright as she is. I mean, I ain't no doctor or nothing, but I'm pretty sure two people this color ain't gonna make no baby this bright-skinned. I mean, she was practically white.
I don't feel like that's correct because my son was white with black hair and blue eyes. I'm not white. I don't have blue eyes.
At this point, we enter full-on mystery mode. Mr. Ellis claims there was already a DNA test done years ago, and according to him, the results were crystal clear, 99.9% not the father. So naturally, he stopped paying child support and moved on with his life. But hold up, because here comes a huge twist that makes this whole situation even messier.
When I was away, her mother called child support on me. They came and took the DNA test.
You got the results back?
I got the results back. It was 99.9 that I wasn't the father. So I showed her the paperwork.
So wouldn't you want to keep some kind of information or record so if I did grow up and I had questions,
no, I
say,
would not.
hey,
I would not want to keep that kind of information.
If you thought this was just a simple case of he said, she said, get ready to upgrade to he said, she said, and she said something completely different, Ms. Lyde's mom steps up and says, yeah, we did a DNA test and it said yes, he's the father. Wait, what? Two completely opposite DNA results? Somebody's lying, somebody's confused, or the universe just decided to mess with this family.
A DNA test was performed, yes or no?
Yes.
What were the results?
They said in the court 99% yes.
That 99.9% that yes, he was Danielle's biological father.
Yes, that's
Thank
our
you so much.
report.
That's what I wanted to know. You may be seated.
At this point, the whole courtroom was sitting up straight, watching this go down like it was a Netflix drama. Ms. Lyde is fed up. She's mad at her mom, mad at Mr. Ellis, mad at the whole situation. She talks about how not having a dad made her make bad choices in life. And honestly, you just want to give her a hug. But before the tears could even dry, things got even more awkward.
I don't look like most of the people on my mom's side of the family, so I know there has to be some kind of connection. People do things in life that is unexplainable. Me, I look at myself and I love myself. I look at myself in the mirror every day and I appreciate myself. If another human being on this earth don't want to accept me for who I am, that's not going to stop me from loving me for who I am.
You ever hear someone talk about their life and just think, dang, this person has been through it? That's what this moment was. Danielle explains how not having a father made her struggle with self-worth and relationships. She says she never had that dad to guide her and help her know what a good man looks like. And if you thought the drama was over, nope. Now enters Grandma Ellis with some things to say.
I feel like if I had a male role model, you know, I wouldn't have to go out there and experience things I experienced looking for love in a man. Like, I should have had that firm man connection bond to where I know what to look in a man. Being with your dad, father-daughter dances, you know, just having that role model I can call on when I'm going through something, or just the extra shoulder and support to cry on.
This was the part where you just wanted to yell, oh, come on now. Mr. Ellis's mom, aka Grandma Ellis, takes the stand and says she never believed Danielle was her granddaughter. Why? Because when she saw baby Danielle, she was too big and looked 4 months old at just 1 month. Oh, and also, some neighbor told her something about Danielle having a brother. Yeah, because obviously neighbors are the most reliable DNA testers, right?
When I first saw the baby at a month old, she looked 4 months old. And from what I had heard from my son, her father's a great big man. What I heard from my neighbor, she has a little brother that she and the little brother were like twins, and the grandmother, Miss Lyde Seniors, brought the baby over in the house behind mine every day for a week.
Just when you thought things couldn't get pettier, this happens. Danielle brings up a moment from when she was 10, saying she ran into Grandma Ellis on a trolley and introduced herself. And what did Grandma say? Get out of my face or I'll smack you. Oh, the audience gasps. But Grandma swears she never said that. It was a real somebody's lying. But who moment?
I was 10. I want to introduce myself like, you know, I'm Mr. Ellis's daughter. On my face or I will smack you.
What? She's lying. This little girl slid up, teenager. She said, hi. I said, hello. Do you know me? I said, no. Should I? I'm your granddaughter. I said, no, you're not. I said, I know who her daddy is, and you're not gonna put that on my son. And they're both lying.
At this point, even Judge Lake was like, all right, what the heck is going on here? She lays it out. Danielle has been told her whole life that Mr. Ellis is her dad, but he says he has proof that he isn't. Yet nobody has actually seen this proof. It's like a detective movie, but with way more yelling and family drama. And finally, we're about to get some real answers.
Her point is she's been told her whole life you are her biological father. You say you had proof that she was not. End of the day, Mr. Ellis, you're saying that she's 99.9% not your biological daughter. And Ms. Lyde, you're saying he's 99.9% your father. And that's where the mystery is.
Because I'm 99.99% lost and confused.
A lawyer steps in to try and explain how something this messy even happens. Turns out, child support cases can be super confusing, and sometimes the system straight up messes up. Like, oops, we told you to pay for a kid that's not yours. Our bad. The expert basically says, yeah, it's possible that a mistake was made here. Oh, and speaking of mistakes, we're about to find out if Mr. Ellis made a big one.
As a family attorney for the last 17 years, stranger things have happened in family court. Child support is not for the mother to waive. So even if Mrs. Lyde's mom said, you know, we're on good terms, I'll waive it. You can't do that because the Department of Child Support Services is there and they're involved. And they're gonna enforce the order if, in fact, the father is the father and there's enough income to enforce this order.
You could feel the tension through the screen at this moment. Judge Lake pulls out the envelope. Everyone holds their breath. And then, boom, the DNA test says,
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Ellis, you are the father.
Whoa! I knew it! Yes! Boom! Ha!
Buckle up, folks. This case is about to take us on a wild ride. The judge announces Luttrell vs. Leaks, and Ms. Luttrell is here to find out who her real dad is. She hopes DNA will confirm it, but something tells me it won't be that easy.
Ms. Luttrell, you found your case because you say after a lifetime of confusion of not knowing who your biological father is and receiving no help from your mother, you are now hopeful because you believe you have finally found your dad.
Imagine meeting your dad for the first time. Crazy, right? Ms. Luttrell confirms she's never met Mr. Leaks. The judge asks if she's ready, and she nervously says yes. You can almost hear the dramatic music.
Yes, I believe that I found him because I did a DNA test through Ancestry.com.
And you have never met him?
No, I've never met him in person, face to face.
Are you ready to see him for the first time?
Yes, I'm really excited. I really would like to see him.
Jerome, will you please escort Mr. Leaks into the courtroom?
Ms. Luttrell's mom gave her 3 different stories. First, dad left for cigarettes and never returned. confirmed. Then, Mom just didn't want him around. And now, Mom straight up says, "Girl, I don't even know."
I was told that my father had went to the store and apparently was to buy cigarettes, and he never came back. And then when I was 13 years old, she told me that basically she didn't really want my father in my life. I asked her about my father, and she told me that basically, you know, sorry daughter, I just really don't know, so long ago and I can't remember.
The judge pulls up an exhibit, 3 possible dads. One was a co-worker, one a classmate, and one a mystery man from a party. Mom admits to short relationships and losing contact. This is turning into who's the daddy?
You say there are 3 possible fathers, one of which was a co-worker.
Yes, we dated, we got familiar with each other, and then it ended up in intimacy.
Did you ever tell that person you were pregnant?
I didn't know how to contact them, and I had moved as well.
You also say that there was a classmate.
Mom kind of remembers an African-American man at a party, but she isn't sure if it was Mr. Leeks. Basically, she's saying, I might have been there, he might have been there, who knows? Sherlock Holmes would need more clues.
What happened with Mr. Lee?
It was a party that had occurred in my neighborhood, and I got to know somebody, I don't know if it's him, but somebody that could be her father at that party.
Do you know this man?
I don't know him. When she brought him up, I just said, well, he looks familiar.
Modern technology saves the day. Ms. Luttrell finds a match on Ancestry.com, messages a cousin, and discovers Lee Leeks. She then Facebook stalks him and thinks she looks like his daughter. But is it real or just wishful thinking?
And so how did you connect with him through his family?
Through Ancestry.com, directly messaged a family member who was my cousin, says he was my cousin. And then his wife actually was the one who made his profile. So I was talking directly mostly with his wife. And then I also talked to him as well. They came to the conclusion that possibly Lee Leeks could be my father in the family.
Ah!
Mom's vague description doesn't help much. She did say he was younger, and Mr. Leeks was 19 while she was 35. Mom admits she was at a party with a younger guy, but that's still a whole lot of maybe.
Well, my mom, like I said, the 3 stories that I gave you was talk to her about like the age range as well. Like at the time he would have been, I think, 19 and she was 35. She said it is possible because she remembers going to the party, like she had stated, and he was younger.
Oh, she remembered sleeping with a young guy at this party.
Yes.
Most confident denial ever. The judge asks if he remembers the party, and he flat out says no. No hesitation, just a firm, I would have remembered that. The audience laughs. Same, dude.
Do you remember this party and this one-night stand?
No, I'm just looking at it right now thinking, okay, it's nice to meet you, but no, I was not at that party.
Were you ever at a party having sex with an older woman?
No. You know, if I'm having a child or anything like that, if I even know there's a chance I'll have a child, I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere.
Mr. Leeks pulls out a picture of his mom, and whoa, they do look alike. Even the judge pauses. If he's not the dad, then why does she look like his mom's twin?
Miss Luttrell submitted a younger photo of herself. Does that look more familiar to you? So you don't remember her from a party? You don't remember her?
No, I will say this, if I can just share this with you.
Yes.
And
what is this evidence, sir?
This is a picture of her right next to my mom. They're side by side on here. And they look so much alike. She's related to us somehow, some way.
Plot twist. At the time of conception, they lived just 14 minutes apart. They could have crossed paths, but Mr. Leeks is sticking to his story. He was not at that party.
The truth is you all didn't live too far away from one another at that time. You were in Sacramento, Mr. Leeks, and Ms. Luttrell, you were as well about 14 minutes away from one another. So, I mean, it wouldn't be inconceivable to think you could have been at the same party.
If I was partying that good, that must have been a good party. And I mean...
When she asked his family, they said, yeah, Lee was wild back then. Not exactly a strong denial. She's desperate for a DNA test. Will science prove what she feels in her heart?
Begging you, I'm pleading for this DNA test because we have a really strong connection as well over the phone. I've felt like his daughter just talking with him, and as well as the other similarities with me being a musician. He told me that his mother was a singer. So I really, truly believe that this is a big possibility that he's my father.
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Leeks, you are not the father.
Oh boy, this case is messy from the start. Judge Lake introduces Jones vs. Hernandez/Trevino, where two women claim Mr. Trevino is their baby daddy, but he's outside dodging drama like it's a reality show. When he walks in, you just know it's about to get wild.
You are each here today to prove to a man that he is the father of your children.
Yes, sir.
Now that man, Mr. Trevino, is waiting outside the courtroom and will join us shortly.
Mr. Trevino walks in looking like pure awkwardness. Miss Jones comes out swinging, saying he's been denying her daughter, like a game of ping pong. He's just standing there like, I just want the truth. But Miss Jones is not having it. Buckle up, it's gonna be a long ride.
Mr. Trevino, your name was popping up so much, I just figured we better just bring you on in.
How you doing? He's denied her back and forth. He says, I'm not the father. You have not been there.
My family and I have done a lot.
Keyword, your family.
Now it gets weird. Mr. Trevino pulls out a doctor's timeline like he's solving a crime. He claims he doesn't remember being with Miss Jones then, and she claps back, of course you don't. The way he's stumbling. She might be right, but she's about to take it up a notch.
Now you claim you went to a doctor's appointment at some point in June, around the 18th.
Yes.
And you're thinking back to that week in March, the estimated dates of conception. I don't remember being intimate with her around that time.
Judge Lake tries to bring in some feelings, reminding Miss Jones she once loved Mr. Trevino. She admits it, but quickly adds, he was also a hot mess. The emotions are flying, but don't get too comfy. It's about to explode.
You did choose to be with him, so it had to be something about him you like.
You're right. And you have to follow your heart, who you love at the time. I did. I was in love with him. I don't remember nothing because he's a charmer. I was always intimate when he wanted.
Oh, now you don't remember.
The spiteful lie boom. Miss Jones admits she once told Mr. Trevino he wasn't the father, just to hurt him, and she says it felt good. Trevino looks like he just found out Santa isn't real. He's not buying her excuse, and things are about to get crazier.
It turned into an argument, and right away, she went down and gave me a low blow, and I was like, I've been doing this. She said, I said, you know what, I've been doing all this and the baby, and she's probably not even mine, and she says, matter of fact, she's not yours.
Oh, and it felt so good.
So you're saying you set it out of spite.
Now Trevino fires back, saying Miss Jones used to party and date married men. She's like, I was single and living my best life. They're throwing accusations like it's a roast battle. But hold up, there's another woman about to join the fight.
Before we got into a serious relationship, she was club hopping. She was, going out with him and going out with him, bringing him
with
home.
No children.
Yes, you were engaged and married.
Oh, really?
Maybe
you're
you gotta get
your
yours
story.
Too. Everybody has to do their own thing and get theirs. And
okay.
You told me out of her mouth because when we started getting to know each other, I asked her what type of person she was.
Now Trevino questions if Hernandez's baby is his. His reason? She got dressed up every time he left for work. Oh, and the baby has a hairy back, but he claims he isn't hairy. Hernandez is like, dude, I'm Mexican. We're just hairy. This logic is next level ridiculous.
There's been so many times where I'm going off to work and she's over here straightening her hair and putting on makeup. Why don't you do that while I'm there? You should be doing that for me, not when I'm on my way to work. Guys coming over, and when I'm getting home from work,
coming over
they're
for
leaving.
My brothers, not coming over
you know
for
what I mean?
me.
Like,
I can't.
And her brothers, by the way, her brothers hate me.
Judge Lake has had it. She tells Miss Jones she can't complain when she once told Trevino he wasn't the dad. Then she tells Trevino to quit playing detective. The courtroom is holding its breath. Time for the big moment.
Now, when you get so angry at a man, I'm gonna hurt you the way you hurt me, and I'm gonna tell you that this child isn't yours, because he then starts to act like child isn't his.
You're right.
Here we go. DNA results. Surprise, surprise.
Mr. Trevino, you are father.
Ms. Tucker is trying to prove Mr. Hunter is her father after her mom dropped a DNA bomb on her 10 years ago. She thought another man was her dad, but that turned out to be wrong. Mr. Hunter has been dodging DNA tests like it's an Olympic sport.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. You opened your case to prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad.
Ms. Tucker is desperate for answers after growing up thinking the wrong man was her father. He told her over the phone in 5th grade that he wasn't her dad, like a bad customer service call. Now she just wants the truth, but things are about to get even messier.
I opened my case because for these last few years, I have been trying to get Charles to do a DNA test with me. I scheduled a test, he didn't show up, and it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind, and it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life.
Mr. Hunter says he was told 30 years ago he wasn't the father, so he left town for 15 years. Now he's back and more confused than ever. But wait until you hear the next twist.
Who her father really is. What is your response?
I want her to find out who her father really is also.
You don't believe you are?
Well, I had doubts because her mother told me that I wasn't 30 years ago, so.
You hear your daughter speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Express her pain?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he was her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Tucker overheard her supposed dad say he didn't believe she was his child. One second, she was excited to talk to him, and the next, he was denying her like a bad holiday surprise. And middle school made things even worse.
I was in the 5th grade, and his sister had came and got me one weekend like she always did. They were on the phone, and I was over, and I walked in, and I asked, was that him on the phone? And she said yes. She gave me the phone, and it was my first time ever talking to him. I was really excited. And that's when he told me that my mom was not being honest with me, and he knew I wasn't his daughter.
A random woman told Ms. Tucker she looked just like her real dad, Mr. Hunter. When she asked her mom, she got a quick, "That lady don't know what she's talking about."
I was in the 7th grade. Where we're from is very small, so I was at a store. There's a woman who knows them both, and she told me, she said, "You look just like your dad." And so I go, "Oh, you know my dad?" And I said his name, and she goes, "That's not your dad." That was the first I have ever heard of him. So I went home, and I did tell my mom what she said, but my mom just said she was lying.
Mr. Hunter says he was told he wasn't the father, so he just left. Years later, rumors made him second guess, and now he's confused like the rest of us.
Adrian told me she was pregnant, and she told me the child wasn't mine. She told me she was pregnant. She said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine. So what am I supposed to do when someone tells me I'm not the father? I move on with my life.
Middle school drama at its peak. Ms. Tucker got called out of class to meet a man claiming to be her father. Spoiler, it was Mr. Hunter, and she shut him down real quick.
I was in middle school. The young woman that is like his daughter, I guess he was there to pick her up. This was the first day I ever saw him. And he told me who he was. He was my dad. That's what he said. So
what?
That's what he told me that day. Said the other man was my dad. And just so happened, my mom still said no. And then we see him. I guess he had just moved back to town.
Ms. Tucker's aunt spilled the tea in the car, revealing her mom wasn't telling the truth. Her mom sat there looking guilty while everything unraveled.
I was 23, and we were in the car with my aunt, and I just was talking about some things that I wanted to do, and my aunt made the comment to my mom that she had not been truthful to me about who my dad was, and she needed to tell me the truth. My mom, she just looked like my aunt better keep her mouth shut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Plot twist. Mr. Hunter dated Ms. Tucker's mom's sister. You can practically hear the audience gasping.
Well, I had met a young lady. Come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought about that.
So you slept with her sister. Did you know this?
This has nothing to do with my sister.
When I came back to North Carolina, Adrian wouldn't to me, she wouldn't talk to me, she had nothing to do with me. That was the reason why I felt she wouldn't talk to me.
Drum roll.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hunter, you are not the father.
So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
You said you all were like brother and sister?
We was friends. We was close like brother and sister. We was friends.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends.
Yes.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that, because I started to get up at the funeral and tell them what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
This is already a disaster. A pastor might have fathered a child with a woman 28 years younger. To make it wilder, another guy is outside waiting for a surprise no one wants.
You're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you. So you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Pastor House met Ms. Webster while moving for a church job. Instead of just prayers, he made it clear he had manly needs. He says they bonded over tragedies, but this is all leading to a paternity test.
I met her, we began to talk to Mom. I went through tragedy, I lost my child. She's kind of brought a connection. There was a connection, I thought she was hot. And after exchanging numbers, I decided that I wanted to follow up on this. So we set a date for the following week and we went out and, we just had a great time together.
Ms. Webster says they met at church. House says it was a fast food joint. Either way, things escalated fast. Then, on national TV, he calls her a hoochie.
But instead of that, it was like more, it led on to sexual, unprotected sex.
I didn't meet her at a church. I met her at a fast food joint and we exchanged the numbers.
That's wrong, Yana. We met at church.
Looked at each other and quickly she became a hoochie and that's what it was all about.
Excuse me,
Miles Jones arrives, thinking he's confirming fatherhood. Instead, he finds out about House. His face goes from happy to be here to what in the world.
So, Ms. Webster, you were in fact sleeping with someone else during that time?
Yes, sure.
But I wasn't.
Who's that person?
Mr. Miles Jones. He was a boyfriend. We knew each other for 5 years, but it was an on and off relationship.
House claims Webster used him for money, but she says he never gave her a dime. Miles Jones says he was the one buying diapers. Judge Lake roasts House, but first, they need to find the dad.
I think she's with me for money.
Well, how do you think that when you never even gave me a penny?
Because things could be, I did. She'll tell you that her phone was off. Your phone went on, my bankroll was on swollen, and I kept her phone.
For baby Amelia, and just in case you end up being the father, we know we won't have any problems getting some child support.
Webster says she called House after getting pregnant, but his phone was disconnected. House swears he only found out 30 days ago. He stayed in town, but never heard from her.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was trying to contact Mr. House. His phone was disconnected. First, I never knew he left town. And then I didn't even get in contact to tell him until after I had my baby. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. And for his money to be on full when I asked him for diapers and everything, where was they?
Miles Jones finds out 5 to 6 months into the pregnancy. He asks if the baby is his, and Webster vaguely says, it's a possibility. Not exactly reassuring.
I came over on a regular hookup to go meet up with her. We was gonna go out, do what we normally do. And then she said to me, I'm pregnant. I said, really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months.
I'm pregnant. Did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
The birth certificate has no father's name, but the baby has Miles Jones's last name. Everyone is confused. He insists he was there all along, but now it's time for a twist.
Let me look at this birth certificate.
Oh.
I haven't even seen the birth certificate, but I did sign some papers at Amelian's birth.
Yes, and I told you that your name wasn't going on there because it was a possibility that you was not my baby father.
But I've been there since day one.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing listed under the name of father. You made her last name Miles Jones.
That's my last name.
Yes.
House says he's holding back emotions after losing a child. Miles Jones hopes the baby is his, but he's not seeing the resemblance. The truth is coming.
Because I went through a tragedy and I lost a 6-year-old daughter. She was killed as well. I just keep that barrier there. I feel like it's safe for me. Yeah, when I was younger, I was hoping to have a child. I didn't have one. So when you get to this stage, I just want to guard my emotions, especially after hearing what I heard today.
Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father.
This kicked off like a soap opera with no breaks. Ms. Robinson is furious. Her so-called friend, Ms. Jackson, slept with her son. Now Jackson claims he's the father, despite having a whole lineup of men. The courtroom turns into a reality show instantly.
You've opened this case for your son because you're furious with your former friend, the defendant, and is now claiming he fathered her child, even though you know she was sleeping with many more men.
Jackson doesn't hesitate. She admits it. No guilt, no shame. But she flips the script, saying Chaplin refuses to step up. Chaplin, looking like he got hit by a bus, denies being the father. The audience gasps, and we're just getting started.
Ms. Jackson, you admit you slept with your friend's son without her knowledge, but claim the one thing you know is the plaintiff is a deadbeat who has done nothing for your 3-month-old daughter, Milani, and that needs to change today.
Chaplin is way too confident for a guy on a paternity test show. He insists they were just friends, but also says Jackson had plenty of other options. Judge Lake gives him a look like, boy, do you hear yourself? And then chaos erupts.
I'm absolutely sure I'm not the father, 100% positive, because during the time that I knew her, we never was in a relationship. We was only friends throughout the entire time. I've known her to talk to several other men.
Just talking? You gotta do more than talking to make a baby.
Oh yeah, well, whenever we used to hang out or whatever, she had multiple people coming around. A guy was spending a lot of time.
Jackson isn't holding back. She claims they weren't just friends. They were very friendly, all day, every day. Then she calls his mom, cousin It, and his sister Shrek. The audience loses it. Reality TV gold.
Me and Dominique was having sex numerous of times every day. Okay, so therefore for him to say that I was sleeping with somebody else, he's lying. The only one who got him thinking that is cousin It over there, which is his mother. And dang on sister.
Throughout the whole time I talked to this young lady, she had more than one cell phone.
Hold on, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
Robinson goes full mom mode. She took Jackson in, helped her, fed her, and Jackson repaid her by sleeping with her son. Robinson is personally offended and makes sure Jackson knows it. And somehow, it's about to get even worse.
Me and her son was friends.
Old school. I'm 48 years old.
And you dang 13 years
from,
older than me,
any other woman my age, I don't care if he's upset or not.
It
you
doesn't
do
matter.
Not
He's grown.
with somebody
He's grown.
Your kids,
He's
you
grown.
won't sleep with my son when he had already had something going on. I don't give a dang if he is of age. I took the child in, and she slept with my son that hurt.
This is a life lesson in betrayal. Robinson took Jackson under her wing, never imagining she'd mess with her son. Just when it seems like it can't get worse, another bombshell drops.
She was a young girl out here that needed some help with 5 kids, ma'am. And I done been through what she been through, so my payment back was to sleep with my son.
You befriend her once you met her.
Yes.
And you all started what? You
going to the school dances. I got pictures of that. They need to put it up there. I fed them. I put them in my house. All them pictures that you see, that we was to the school children's dance, Valentine's dance.
Jackson attempts to justify it by saying she and Chaplin were like brother and sister. Judge Lake is baffled because that's not how siblings work. Jackson doubles down. The audience groans. Chaplin face palms. Even the courtroom walls are tired.
So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
Miss Jackson, that sounds nasty. Now, you said you all were like brother and sister.
We was friends. We was close like brother and sister. We was friends. Every time you see him, me and him hanging out together.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends.
Having sex while we was friends.
You know what I'm saying? So after
every night.
Chaplin enters let me tell y'all something mode. He reveals a random guy once stopped his car just to demand why Jackson wasn't answering his calls. And Jackson introduced Chaplin as her brother. He is speechless.
Not only that, one day we were walking down the street. A couple of guys were honking the horn, you know, trying to get her attention, but these are people that she knew, not just people who just thought she. And one guy stopped, he rode by and spoke, came back by and had to stop the car to speak to her. He was like, you know, why haven't you been answering my phone calls, or why haven't I been able to catch up with you? He ended up giving both of us a ride. She gets in the front seat with him, I get in the back seat. She's telling this man that I'm her brother.
Robinson is livid. Jackson admits to sleeping with one other guy, but insists Chaplin is the father. Robinson yells that if the test proves it, Chaplin is stepping up. The courtroom is chaos.
It was 2 married men she hinted me, but people that know me know I don't fool with married men,
Girl,
and I don't fly with that, and you can't talk to me about that. So she never told me their names, but she hinted.
It was only one other man, but at the end of the day, me and Dominique was having sex every day. Shut up, mind your business. I hope while you up there riding him out, you can take care of this dang on child support when this DNA test come back today.
Text messages reveal Chaplin was excited when the baby was born. Texting OMG, she's so beautiful. The audience gasps. Robinson, however, is still ready to fight.
So, Mr. Chaplin, oh my God, where's she at? I guess that's where.
Yes.
What you doing? Where is my daughter? Pound 7 ounce, 18.5 inches, born at 5:39 a.m. Mr. Chaplin, you right. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Hey, I want to see her.
Why you ain't game?
Robinson delivers the line of the century. She told Chaplin to wait for Dana. Who's Dana? Oh, just her hilarious way of saying DNA. The courtroom cracks up, but the big moment is here.
They came and gave me a pregnancy test. I said, where you got it from? He said, her. I said, take her back to the clinic yourself. Wait, and then bring me that test back. He took her to the clinic. She took the test. Okay, we know she's pregnant. I said, now come back, talk to me when you got Dana. I said, let's go see her.
Who's Dana?
Dana is DNA.
Oh,
and that's what we here for today, to see Dana, honey.
Dana comes, or when you go see Dana, that's the DNA?
That's right.
Right before the results, Robinson drops another bomb. Jackson was also with a married man. Jackson loses it, calling her a liar. But now it's time for Dana to speak.
She wasn't just sleeping with him. When the married man came to talk to my son, it was me, my son, and the dude. And I bet you this ain't gonna come back Dominique Chaplin, baby. So, I bet you this gonna come back somebody else, baby.
You are saying you believe that there is a married man somewhere in this picture who could potentially be the father of Melania.
Yes.
And the results say?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Chaplin, you are the the father.
Oh, thank you! Thank you!
This whole thing kicks off like a TV show gone wild. Mr. Butterfield says he might be the dad, but thinks Ms. Bracknell just wants to stay with her new guy, Mr. Dallas. Get ready, because this love mess is just warming up.
You've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. You say she's denying you are Cara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Things get weird fast. Ms. Bracknell called the baby a gift, and Mr. Butterfield took it way serious. He starts thinking maybe he's the daddy after all. But oh boy, it gets even messier from here.
She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, "Thank you for the gift." And I said, "What gift was that?"
And it wasn't till later that you found out she was pregnant.
That is correct. You're
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
The baby?
That's what you thought?
Yes, Your Honor.
When she said thank you for the gift, you said, oh, that's what she was talking about.
Yes, Your Honor.
She switched boyfriends faster than a remote clicks channels. Ms. Bracknell says she wasn't pregnant when she moved in with Mr. Dallas. Hang on, because the calendar drama is about to explode.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
Honestly, I didn't find out until 3 months after I did move out of his house because I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person.
So you didn't go to the doctors for how long?
Mr. Dallas pulls out a calendar like it's a magic map. He says the baby can't be Butterfield's because of dates. But wait, Butterfield's got receipts too?
August, her and Jesse split up. September, we was
together. Moved in.
We were.
So this calendar,
August,
the dates,
Mr. Butterfield split up.
when the relationship with Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Bracknell ended and when she came back to you.
Yeah.
Cara was conceived in mid-September and she was born in June.
Yes, ma'am.
Butterfield says they were still, hanging out after she left. He even offers to take a lie detector test, like he's in a spy movie. Next up, yelling and pointing fingers.
Because honestly, we were sleeping together after that, all the way up until October 8th, the last time we had sex. Because I remember, I can take a lie detector test if you want to prove it. Asking me for money for gas so you can go see him.
Yeah, I asked you for money, huh?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Butterfield, you're saying that you were still having sex with Ms. Bracknell till October. So although these dates may be true, they are missing.
Yeah.
Mr. Dallas says he named the baby and cut the cord. Butterfield says he found out about the baby on Facebook. Ouch. Time for the past to jump back in.
So, Mr. Dallas, you named Cara.
Yes, Your Honor, I cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, you could cut the umbilical cord because I wasn't there. She hid it from me for how long?
You were there. You were stalking
8 months
us out
stalking you.
in
the parking lot.
Yeah,
the only
don't
time that
even.
I actually
Don't
ever
even.
found out that you guys were even pregnant, it's a Facebook post that they posted on that the baby was even. That's before I even knew.
It says...
Yep, that little girl's ready right there.
Butterfield says Bracknell hides pregnancies like squirrels hide snacks. He even says she cheated on his birthday. Double ouch. Things are heating up faster than pizza rolls in a microwave.
She hid all of her pregnancies. She even hid the one from her
no,
youngest
I
son,
didn't.
Carson. She hid from him.
No,
he wasn't even at.
I didn't know when she went into the hospital, yeah, but you know what? We're over it.
Isn't that hiding it from you?
We're done and over with.
Hides pregnancies.
Oh, yeah, she'll even run to her exes. It's like pattern. She'll run to him, she'll run to another guy that she cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
Butterfield tried to reach out, but Bracknell says his messages were scary. Judge Lake tries to cool everyone down. Just wait, she's got more to say.
When I found out about it, I messaged her mom, let him know I was coming. I blocked, obviously, on their
That you were
Facebook.
coming. Let's explain that text message. 5 seconds after I posted that, he texted my mom saying, I'm coming to get that girl. Just all threats.
Well, if I want to be in my daughter's life, why wouldn't I be?
And there's nothing wrong with that if she is your daughter, but we'll see.
Yes, we were. We'll see right today, won't we? That's why we're here.
Butterfield says the baby has his nose, lips, and hair, like a mini-me. Bracknell says, nah, all her kids had light hair that changed later. Only one way to settle this, DNA time.
She looks more like me. Her own family even tells me.
They ain't family.
They look like me. She's got my nose, she's got my lips,
we'll see.
She's got my brown hair.
We'll see.
All her boys are blonde.
Yep, and they've gone brown the older they get.
Exactly.
So you are convinced, Mr. Butterfield, this is your daughter?
Oh, I'm 100% convinced.
Cara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
This whole thing was a roller coaster from the start. Miss Tucker comes in claiming her late son is Keundra's dad, while also asking for $3,800 in benefits. Meanwhile, Miss Mosley isn't buying it because this isn't the first time someone tried this on her son.
Miss Tucker, you're here today for your son, 1-year-old Keandre Tucker. Now, you say you're unsure whether a man you've been in a sexual relationship with or the defendant's deceased son is his biological father. You're also suing Ms. Mosley for $3,800 in Social Security benefits.
Yes, Your Honor.
This love triangle was messier than spilled spaghetti. Miss Tucker says she was with both guys, but spent more time with Mr. Andrews, even bringing a calendar to prove it. She found out she was pregnant on March the 16th and did some quick math. But let's be real, math in these situations is never 100% accurate.
When I met him, I did have a boyfriend, so, you know, I was sleeping with 2 people at the same time, but it was more frequent with Mr. Andrews. And when I met him, I remember the exact date as if it was yesterday. I met him February the 6th. It was on my best friend's birthday. I actually have a calendar that I can actually show you too as well. From February 6th all the way from the 14th through the whole month, I was having sex with Mr. Andrews more frequent.
And here comes another twist. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews guessed she was pregnant before she even knew, while Miss Mosley says she only found out through a friend. When she asked her son, he flat out denied it, making things even messier.
Well, when I first found out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be upfront with both of them. I went to Mr. Andrews first. I told him first, like, hey, look, I'm pregnant. Actually, before I even went and took the pregnancy test, he was the one that made me go take it, because before he said, hey, you're pregnant. I'm looking like, really? Like, I felt like I was being trapped, because he told me I was pregnant before I even went and took a pregnancy.
This went from drama to full-on chaos. Miss Mosley says her son called Miss Tucker wild and mentioned she was a stripper. But Judge Lake isn't here for that nonsense. She reminds everyone that whether or not she danced. The real question is if Mr. Andrews is the father.
First of all, he was incarcerated at the time. We spoke every day. On this particular day that I found out, when he called, I got on him. I was like, Eric, what's going on? Are you about to have another child? And he said, Mom, she is wild. She's a stripper. She performs private parties.
Nobody in this situation actually knew what was going on. Miss Mosley is confused because her son told her about all his kids, except this one, while Miss Tucker says he wasn't honest about how many kids he had. Turns out, she didn't even know about his other kids until his funeral. Yikes.
Let me tell you, his first child, he was so excited. He came home, he said, Mom, I'm about to have my first child. He was at the hospital, then the second child came. He talked about the baby, took pictures, the third child, the first girl.
Things just kept getting worse. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews didn't support her or the baby, and only visited after 3 weeks because she didn't send him money in jail. Judge Lake is basically like, we have bigger problems to deal with here.
After I had my baby, that's when I got in contact with Miss Mosley. We on the phone. She like, oh, nice to meet you, Kendra. She said, well, Mr. Andrews just got out of jail or whatever. And I was like, okay, so let me try to contact him so he can come spend time with Keandre. Never happened. It took him 3 weeks to come see my baby. This is a newborn baby now. He was angry and frustrated with me because when he was incarcerated, I wasn't sending him no money.
Now we bring in Instagram receipts. Miss Mosley swears Miss Tucker is only in this for the money, and even shows social media posts comparing the baby to Eric. But the real shocker? This isn't even the first time someone tried to say her son was their baby daddy.
Miss Tucker is bringing you to court.
For the money. She wants a check. I was still mourning. I'm looking on Instagram, finding pictures like these of my son and her son together, and I'm not even sure if he is his son.
Money talk just made everything worse. Miss Tucker brings out a budget, saying she's been paying for everything alone, but Miss Mosley refuses to help without proof. Judge Lake agrees that DNA is the only way to settle this, and the suspense is real.
So you have a breakdown of monthly expenses, baby formula, clothes, childcare, totaling $400 per month.
And that's just half, and I think that's only fair.
And so the basis of your suit is that you would like half of that amount to be covered by Ms. Mosley.
Yes.
So that would be $200 a month for 19 months.
Yes.
And so $3,800.
Yes.
You could feel the tension in the room.
It has been determined that Mr. Andrews is the biological father.
This thing got messy real fast. Ms. Heiser calls her ex-husband a textbook deadbeat who ditched her and their kid. Mr. Anbe fires back, saying she was juggling more guys than a talent show.
You say your ex-husband, Mr. Onby, is a textbook deadbeat who abandoned you and your daughter almost 20 years ago. You claim Mr. Onby has spent that time inventing outlandish excuses for denying his only daughter, but you say it all comes down to child support.
Things went from bad to soap opera real quick. Ms. Heiser says he was excited about the baby, but then some random guy popped up claiming to be the dad. Suddenly, Mr. Onby was playing detective instead of father.
He's never been there for Gabrielle since birth, emotionally, physically, financially. In the beginning, when I first met him, he seemed like a stand-up guy, a family man. The first year, we decided to get married. I had found out I was pregnant and told him. He was happy at first, told his friends and family. Within a few months, it started to deteriorate.
This dude treated fatherhood like a part-time job he didn't apply for. He showed up drunk, covered in grease, and dipped 2 hours later. 2 weeks later, he was back. Not for the baby, but for a place to crash.
He wasn't there with me through most of the pregnancy. The day that I had went into labor, he showed up halfway through the birth, drunk and full of grease. He stayed for 2 hours and left, and I didn't see him again for 2 more weeks till he showed up on my doorstep needing a place to stay and wanted to play daddy.
So, Mr. Onby, did you go back home after you came and saw Gabby in the hospital?
No, ma'am.
Gabby's 5th birthday was a disaster. Dad showed up for 10 minutes, promised her a toy, and then pulled a disappearing act. She's still waiting for that toy.
He was never really been in my life. My 5-year-old birthday party, he showed up to it for about 10 minutes. He left, told me he was going for a toy, didn't show back up with this toy, and didn't see him for years later.
And never came back?
Never came back, never
for
messaged
years?
me, never talked to me for years. I didn't see him for years.
Just when you think this can't get crazier, it does. Mr. Onby says he caught his wife cheating and left without a word, just grabbed his beer and bounced. Sounds like a bad country song.
So I immediately shot out the back door, cut across the neighbors, and came over to the house, to the front door. So I opened the door. The bedroom is maybe 40 feet from the front door. I heard them loud and clear. There was no doubt in my mind what they were doing. They were having sex. It was very loud. You could hear it clearly as day. I grabbed a 6-pack of beer out of the fridge, which was mine. I hit the front door and I never looked back.
Because what's a messy court case without Facebook drama? Mr. Onby finds a post where Gabby calls another man dad. Turns out, a family member had been telling her lies for years.
Because I don't know for surely that she's not mine. I have snapshots off Facebook. Gabrielle was telling this other man that he was the father and that she knew he was her daddy.
So, Mr. Onby, you're saying you saw this on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a post from Gabby that says, "My daddy."
Yes, ma'am.
After years of running, the truth hits hard.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Onby, you are the father.
This case is totally wild. A man drowning in child support debt for a kid who may not even be his. Mr. Wooten and his daughter, Miss Smith, are here to prove that Miss Backus is not his child. Meanwhile, Miss Backus is demanding an apology. And trust me, this is about to get messy.
You and your father, Mr. Wooten, are suing to prove Miss Backus is not his biological daughter. You say your dad owes more than $92,000 in back child support for a child who isn't his and is on the verge of losing everything because his income is being garnished by 50% each month to pay off that debt.
Imagine losing half your paycheck every month for over 30 years for a kid that might not even be yours. Miss Smith explains that her dad is struggling financially because of a $92,000 debt. And just when you think that's bad, Miss Backus is about to fire back with some heat.
Primarily through the actions of her mother being very deceitful with my father from the very beginning of their relationship. They initially did not start that they began to garnish half of his wages until the point that they started garnishing his wages. It was going into arrears, drawing interest, and now is over $92,606.06.
Miss Backus remembers being a little girl crying while doctors took her blood for a DNA test. She says she always loved her father, even though he never showed up for her. The audience is clapping, and she's about to make sure everyone hears her side.
She made me go to the doctors. First of all, I remember being young and scared, and I started crying for my dad. He made me sit in his chair, and there were about 5, 6 doctors that held me down and blew dry for me. And all I remember is I kept screaming for my father. And I ain't never stopped loving my father, even if they don't claim me. But they gonna learn today.
Mr. Wooten swears he dated Miss Backus's mom for only 4 months, but Miss Backus says her mom told her it was 7 years. Someone's math is way off, and the judge is trying to figure out the truth. Spoiler, it's just going to get more confusing.
I met her mother, I think about 2 months after we been together. She said she was pregnant. 4 months after we was together, we broke up.
Well, Daddy, you and Mama got two different stories, and I'm coming to find out the truth.
So, Mr. Wooten, you're saying the relationship was 4 months long?
Once she was 4 months pregnant with her, we broke up. I realized that most of the things that she was only interested in was me helping her financially.
Miss Backus has photos proving she was once part of the Wooten family. Miss Smith admits she knew about her, but was never sure if she was really her sister. Now, the argument is turning into a full-on courtroom roast.
Yes. That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that, because I started to get up at the funeral and tell them what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
Mr. Wooten says his own mom never believed Miss Backus was his kid. But before she passed, he told her she was just to keep the peace. Miss Backus is shook, and the courtroom is dead silent.
My mother was dying, and I would not deny her. In other words, my mother for years kept saying, you know she's not your daughter. And up to that point, when I told my mother, I said, yes, she is, you know. That's when my mother decided to apologize to her.
That she is your daughter.
I stopped trying to stop the drama. Here, you have to understand that.
They only doing this because it's all about the money.
Miss Smith says the real issue is the $92,000 debt ruining her father's life. She says she was the one caring for him, while Miss Backus says she was kept away to avoid rumors. Things are getting personal, and it's all leading up to the big reveal.
Is for the financial ruin over the back child support over $90,000. I want that to stop. If she is not his child, because he was about to lose his home,
your help.
I was the one there taking him back and forth to his doctor's appointments. I was the one that was there at the hospital with him.
But you're not the only daughter.
I was the one that set up his medication.
Let her finish.
The moment of truth is here, and the whole courtroom holds its breath.
Mr. Wooten Jr., you are not her father.
Why would you name him Jay Shani when you know that my son is dead? The whole time you were pregnant, you told us you were gonna name that baby Daryl Ray Daniel III.
I don't like my name. Give my son his own name. That's what I did. But not only that, my son's whole name is Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel. Is your son's whole name not in that name? Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel.
My brother's oldest child and only son just died. He just turned 21, died in his birthday month.
And I also called you when you told me that to let you know I had a $700 electric bill and your son needed to go to summer school so that he could graduate on time. So I don't care about your brother's son. You don't care about your own son. Why would I care about your brother's son? Keep it 100.
This whole thing starts like a wild family text fight. Miss Banks says Jada's blaming her dead son for a baby he might not even know. Jada's like, nope, he's the dad for sure.
Ms. Banks, you say the defendant is pinning her baby on your son, Daryl, who was tragically murdered before her child was born. You say Daryl told you he didn't believe he was the father, and you intend to prove that today.
Miss Banks says she and her son were super close and never even knew Jada until the end. She thinks Jada's just another ex, and now she wants proof.
For the simple fact that Jada and my son had a very rocky relationship. Me and my son were really, really close. We talked all the time. He would just call me to tell me that he loved me. I never knew of Jada really until right before my son's death. Jada met my son on Facebook, and she came and moved in with him the same day that she met him.
Jada says it was real love even with all the breakups. She swears the baby is Daryl's and not some other guy's. She says he was happy about the baby.
Daryl and I had a strong relationship. We were on and off. I loved him very much. He loved me very much. When I told him I was pregnant, he wanted me to keep it. We got back together and we started working on it. He was seeing someone else and so was I.
And so if you got pregnant during the time you broke up and you were seeing someone else, could this other person potentially be your child's father?
No.
Miss Banks was like, who even is Jada? When her son told her. She says Jada was living with another guy, and that makes her think the baby's not his.
He came to me, he called me on the phone, and he was like, Mom, Jada's pregnant. And I was like, who is Jada? And he was like, she's my new girlfriend. And I was like, oh, here we go again. My son had a lot of girlfriends. To me, Jada was just another girl that came along. Now she's saying she's pregnant. Of course, Daryl was gonna be like, he wants to have a baby. He comes from a large family. He has 6 brothers and sisters.
Jada says they got back together the day before he died. Banks doesn't believe it, and things get spicy. The yelling gets loud real fast.
I literally got back with Daryl on October 20th, and he passed away October 21st.
And you were the last person to see him.
Correction, I was not the last person to see him.
The
people
murderers
that
were.
did that was the last people to see him.
You're right.
Understand.
She feels like
how
I'm the
painful
reason
this
her
is.
son is dead. That's how she feels.
Now they're yelling about what the baby should be named. One says he hated his name, the other says he wanted it. It's loud and super messy.
Why would you name him Jay Shani when you know that my son is dead? The whole time you were pregnant, you told us you were gonna name that baby Daryl Ray Daniel III.
I don't like my name. Give my son his own name. That's what I did. But not only that, my son's whole name is Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel. Is your son's whole name not in that name? Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel!
Banks bought Jada a plane ticket and waited with balloons. But Jada never came. She says she got scared.
She's young. I have a bunch of kids. I have a house. So I talked to Jada on the phone and I said to her, well, Jada, come on, move to Houston with us. I can help you better if you live close to me. I bought Jada a one-way ticket because you were supposed to be coming. I get to the airport with balloons in my hand, excited because this is all that I have left.
Judge says Jada is young and confused. Miss Banks thinks it means she's hiding something, but maybe she was just freaked out.
All that mouth she got?
That's a lot of press.
She got a bunch of mouth. She wasn't scared. She wasn't scared. She lied. Look at all that mouth she got. Where you
say she was scared? What I was going to say, Miss Banks, is that at 20, early 20s, you just don't always make the right call.
You don't.
And you don't do things the right way. That's one of the problems when you're that young having babies.
Jada asked for Daryl's social after he died. She says it was for baby benefits. Miss Banks found that super fishy.
How come when after Daryl was dead, she called me on the phone, she asked me for his social security, my son's social security
Wait, this is
number.
after he passed away?
Yeah.
By law, if a mother goes down to welfare and file for welfare and get on assistance, the father automatically goes on child support. I explained to them that Daryl passed away. They said, give us his social, we're gonna run it anyway and find his death certificate.
Miss Banks hasn't seen the baby at all. She only sent a locket and some baby clothes. She's hurt, but still cares.
She did one thing for Jasani when he was a couple months old. Ordered him some clothes and sent it with a lock with Daryl's ashes in. Why are you doing that if you don't feel like it's your grandchild?
Once Daryl passed away, this was the last thing that I had. But I'm so sick of you. Every time you get pissed, telling me who I cannot see. So I looked it up and I found out that I have grandparents' rights and I don't have to kiss.
Banks cries and says this baby might be all she has left of Daryl. Even if she doubted, she still wanted to love him. She just needed to know.
So you do really hope, and that's why, despite the doubt, you still sent the ashes, you sent the clothes.
Yes, if I didn't like her, there was nowhere she was gonna be. Never be at my house. What I wanna do, Your Honor, is I wanna find out if this is my child. So then I'm gonna have a different attitude toward this little girl.
Okay.
The test says.
Between Miss LaWinda Banks and Jasani Daniel is 99.99%. You are related.
This thing starts off with big drama. Miss Hooker says her baby belongs to Keyshawn, who passed away. She wants the truth and an apology, like right now.
You are here with your mother because you say the defendant's son, Mr. Abraham, fathered your 10-month-old daughter, Kanaya. You say that Ms. Baker and her family's public denial of this child has caused you pain, and you are here for an apology and to prove her son is the father.
Keyshawn's mom says he didn't think the baby was his. She promised to get a test. She says she isn't trying to be mean, just keeping her word.
Ms. Baker, you and your daughter are here today to represent your son, Mr. Abraham, because tragically, he was killed 3 months after the birth of this child. You say that before his death, your son expressed great doubt that he was the father of Miss Hooker's baby, and you are here to put the lies to rest.
Miss Hooker is super upset. She says people treat her like she did something wrong. She's tired of the mean looks.
I'm just sad sometimes. I try to deal with it now. Like, I really don't care no more. That's how I feel. I don't care anymore. I don't care who feel nothing about my baby. I don't care. It just seemed like everybody else was looking upside my head. Like, I'm animals. Like, every time I'm sitting down doing something, they looking at me like I'm just outcast of the group. She looked like me, so why is a problem? That's why I just say I don't care about nothing.
Her mom jumps in like a lion. She says the family keeps calling the baby fat. She's not having it.
Can I jump in? It's not that she don't care. Her feelings been hurt, so she hold her guard up. It's not Miss Baker who denies Kenaya. It's her family who makes my daughter. She was too fat to be his baby. She fat like them, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Never from Miss Baker. It's always her who always have something to say about my grandbaby. My daughter's feelings have been hurt.
Ms. Baker says Keyshawn heard rumors. He wanted a test, but never got the chance. She's crying a lot.
My son was on vacation. We kept hearing that Denia was pregnant, but then when we finally found out for sure, he told me, he said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denia. And he made me promise that we was gonna get a blood test, and things didn't go the way we thought they were gonna go, and now we're here.
Miss Hooker says nope, no other guy. She says people can't tell her what she did. She says Keyshawn only doubted the baby when they fought.
Was there another guy?
That's why it's funny, because how can somebody tell me who I was sleeping with? Nobody in the room was in the room with me when I was sleeping with somebody. What do I have to lie?
Keyshawn told us that he wanted the blood test. Keyshawn only denied the baby when him and my daughter was arguing. Other than that, I have pictures with him laying on her stomach. He had doubt only when he was angry. And I cannot get mad at what he tell his mother or nothing like that.
Keyshawn's sister says seeing the baby makes her sad. She says it's not hate, it's grief. People are just hurting.
I know my mom said something about, she had a birthday dinner, and my mom did tell me, she said something about other people's view of her is just her perception. She has to understand that sometimes it's hard for people to look, for me personally, to look at baby because it's just a reminder that my brother's not here. So it's not about her and her feelings. When she does come around, it is a sense of sadness for me.
Keyshawn got super skinny and scared. His mom told him to be a grown-up. He didn't know what to do.
I was messing with her. He was unsure to the point of where he was just sick. He was worried. He was scared. He lost so much weight. Like I told him, you played grown. Now it's time to be grown. Because if it's your baby, you not finna run and you not.
Him or my family are not those kind of people.
Miss Hooker is mad her baby wasn't in the obituary. She says that hurt her heart bad. The yelling begins.
It's not that she feels some type of way. It's like she more hurt behind the obituary. As Carolyn has explained to her about the obituary, but in her heart, she feel like Miss Bland left her out of the obituary on purpose. That's why she have so much animosity towards Toy.
I just feel like this come back and this is the baby. I don't want her. I don't want no sorries from nobody. Keep your sorries. I don't want no sorries.
I'm not sorry.
Okay, I'm not asking you to.
Shut up.
Hooker says she'll make her own obituary with the baby's name. She wants her daughter to see it one day. That's big heart stuff.
She said one of her family members was in the obituary.
She went and finished up without me. So, Kenia did get left out. So did my grandmother, and so did one of my sisters.
The percentage of relatedness between Miss Baker, Mr. Abraham, and Kenia Abraham is 0%.
And
this courtroom turned into a whole soap opera real quick. Ms. Lester says Mr. Lewis is acting fake now that she won't give him the goods. Then he accuses her of being with a bunch of other dudes like it was a group project.
Ms. Lester, you opened this case against Mr. Lewis because you say he denies fathering your 21-month-old son, Raiden, only because you won't have sex with him. You want Mr. Lewis to step up after today's result prove that he is the father.
Mr. Lewis calls her a hoe, and Judge Lake nearly loses it. She reminds him he was the one sleeping with her. The audience loses their minds, and it's still early.
First, Jatoya is a hoe.
Did I just say use respectful language in the court?
I'm sorry, but that's just what it is.
No. It's not what it's gonna be in this courtroom. And you look crazy because you're the one sleeping with her anyway, so you're not making a point.
Thank you.
You're only making yourself look dumber.
They met on Facebook, and it got messy fast. He said he wanted more than intimate violence, but went to her house that night anyway. She says they even talked about having a baby on purpose.
When I seen her on Facebook, I inboxed her. All guys want to do is have sex. I lied and said no.
He was in a relationship at the time, Your Honor.
That same exact night, I went over her house, we had sex. The very first night, no condom.
He's lying. So he wrote me on Facebook in March of 2016. We didn't have sex until August.
Lester tells Lewis she's pregnant, and he hits her with, "Who's the daddy?" Another guy signs the papers and cuts the cord. Judge Lake's face says it all.
She tells me she's pregnant. Then she tells me it's my son. But tells another man it's his son.
He was at the hospital.
At the hospital, he cut the umbilical cord and he signed the birth certificate. So how am I the father?
He sure did.
The birth certificate has a different man's name. Lester says she was tired of chasing Lewis. He ghosted her like a bad Tinder match.
This birth certificate, oh yeah, here it is, from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Certified record of birth for Raiden Jador.
Jador.
Your father's name is another man's name.
Yes, Your Honor.
You let another man sign the birth certificate when you told Mr. Lewis it was his child?
Yes, I did.
Why?
She already tested another guy and posted the results online. Lewis calls her a freak for that. Even Judge Lake laughs.
Because we did a test and it came back that he was not his father. And he knew that because it was posted on social media. He called me.
Who posts paternity results on social media?
You know why? Excuse my language.
Please say it. Say it.
Lewis says he got shot so much he can't make babies. He swears the kid doesn't look like him. Lester goes, yes, he does.
I've been shot multiple times to where the doctors have pumped so much medicine in my body, and they told me that I couldn't have kids at all.
That's why you feel Raiden is not your biological child.
He doesn't even look like me. Just because he's light-skinned, he has none of my features at all.
Lester's fiance Kevin says he wasn't around when she got pregnant. Lewis says she tried to smash while Kevin was gone. Chaos erupts.
Mr. Lewis just testified that you and Ms. Lester have had a 10-year relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, Your Honor. When I got in the picture, Raiden was already, I'd say, 3 to 4 months.
Can't be, what, no, that still doesn't matter, because if you've been 10 years on and off.
Lewis's mom says she loves the baby and cares for him. They treat him like royalty every weekend. Lester cries.
He's been a real joy to me. I've developed this bond with him. He's developed a bond with my family. He's been around all of my family, and they all just love him to death.
And you come and get him every weekend?
Every other week I come and get him. He got clothes and everything at my house.
And you have fallen in love, completely in love?
Totally in love with him.
Lester says she just wants Lewis to be the dad he never had. She owns up to her mistakes. Lewis says if the kid's his, he'll step up.
I just want him to be a father to his son. Claimed that he didn't have a father when he was growing up. I don't want that for my son. Decisions and the mistakes that I've made in the past. All we can do from our mistakes is learn from them and make sure that we don't make them again.
Yes. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
This mess starts real loud, real fast. She says he's a terrible dad. He says she's mean. Boom, we're already in full drama mode.
Nazarene, you are here today to sue your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Rami, for being an absentee father and a deadbeat dad. You say he has caused you and your 2 children much pain and suffering by never stepping up as their father.
He says she hit him. She says he stole her money. Something about a broken car and a baby. These two need separate planets.
Complete irrationality. The decision to be overtly angry, volatile, and violent for things that I consider to be less than important. Very verbally and physically abusive.
Absolutely not true. He and I have had one incident where he stole $500 from me and had me and my baby in a car that had a steering column that failed. Okay, so.
She clowns him for only sending $100 sometimes. He says he tries his best. LOL. The crowd is not buying it.
But when I've had a job, I have sent help. Whenever she's hit me up and asked for money,
every once in a while he sent $100. Yes, absolutely. Over the past 17 and 16 years, he paid child support when he was with his ex-second wife.
Okay, so
she would have taken my children to Georgia from Los Angeles where we had them. I would have been there.
Okay, so what happened to me being 7 months pregnant with a 1-year-old and you were gone for 3 years?
She said something ice cold about his nephew. The room went silent like in movies. It got real ugly, real fast.
My brother's oldest child and only son just died. He just turned 21, died in his birthday month.
And I also called you when you told me that to let you know I had a $700 electric bill and your son needed to go to summer school so that he could graduate on time. So I don't care about your brother's son. You don't care about your own son. Why would I care about your brother's son? Keep it 100.
He calls himself a loser with no shame. Says he never promised to be anything else. Sad and kind of weird.
Oh, I've never tried to act like I was anything other than what I am, which is...
What are you?
A loser.
No, I'm being honest. He says he's being... I want him to tell me.
I am a writer. She made her decision to be with me with that information.
Really?
I've never acted like I was going to go get a job that was going to provide me with a raise and with upward mobility so I can be somebody that's making $100,000 a year.
He says she punched him and trapped him. She says nope, he's lying again. Now it sounds like a soap opera.
Not quite sure how she heard my statement of I'm leaving, but she decided to punch me in the face.
Lie.
After she punched me in the face, the exact quote, I'll never forget it, which was, hit me.
He's a liar.
From your perspective, you're denying all of this.
What I'm saying is, he keeps on starting at bringing the bug back. The bug was freshly painted.
Oh gosh, is this car again?
I'm not talking about the car.
Judge Lake roasts his wannabe rapper life. Says kids need food, not rhymes. Everyone claps and he just stands there.
I don't want to see the day the father of my child tries to come up short for my baby. It's not going to happen. If there's anything that's going to infuriate a mother is for somebody to give a mediocre effort. You gotta respect that. Is that you can stand there. I never promised her anything. I'm a writer.
Their daughter is embarrassed, and who can blame her? Her dad won't get a job. Oof, major cringe.
He just, in my opinion, doesn't feel like this man loves or cares for him or his sister. And then my daughter said she's embarrassed that her father refuses to work. Him and I having a friendship, never gonna happen because he's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he thought that he was gonna come to my city where I was born, defame me. And all you're doing is making yourself look like a fool.
You two don't have to be friendly. Best for you two to have.
Never, ever.
Judge finally makes her ask when he's visiting. He says, tomorrow. Everyone holds their breath.
When can you visit with your kid?
As soon as possible, which will probably happen tomorrow.
Allow it.
If
so
she
you might want to
allows
make some arrangements.
This is what I've had to deal with this whole time.
Oh, absolutely. Those are my children,
What
and
I've
I
had to
take
deal with
care
the whole
of them.
time.
Oh, please, you're a liar. I brought
Including
those children
phone calls.
every other
Including
weekend.
phone
You need
calls.
to, you're lying. I brought them to you every other
Miss
weekend and brought
Nazarene.
food because you couldn't even feed them.
Right away, this court is buzzing like a beehive. Judge says the mom hid a big secret for 29 years. Just wait, because her son's about to come in hot.
Miss Moore, your son has brought you to court today, but asked to have some time alone with me before he enters the courtroom to present his case against you. You haven't seen your son since a lifelong secret became exposed just 2 months ago. The court has already issued a paternity test, and those results will be revealed today.
Early tells us he heard stuff when he was 9. He asked his mom if Maurice was his dad, and she said yup every time. But mom says she never got asked, so it's about to get messy.
It started around like I was 9 years old. I kept hearing rumors from outside family members that Maurice might not be my father or I might not be his son. I asked, but I always get the same results. For a long time, I got the same results.
Your Honor, he never asked me.
I have asked Your Honor
told him.
and told her, came to her and asked her. She always told me, Maurice is your father.
At the store, a cousin acts super weird about Erle's dad. Erle tries to prove it with a phone call, but the guy bails quick. That's when Erle knew something smelled fishy.
I went to the corner store, just, something to eat. I see another family member of mine. He asked me how my father was. I told him he's doing fine. You want to talk to him? He said, yes. So I went in my pocket, brought my phone out, called him right there on the spot. As soon as he got on the phone, he said, oh, my bad, I got the wrong number. So he gave me back the phone. So I stood back. We had a little awkward moment, like.
Mom says Maurice raised Erle and loved him like his own. She didn't want to mess up a good thing, but now it's coming out whether she likes it or not.
He came into town. I didn't even know my son was coming into town. He came out with it. I told him, I don't know. Had he asked me at 9, he graduated, yes, I still would have told him, but I would have still said, don't tell your grandmother. I went to Maurice. I asked Maurice, don't you think it's about time we let Earl know? No, leave it alone. I'm here now. I'm going to be here. He's my son.
Mom was with 2 guys in like 2 days. As Erle grew up, he didn't look like Maurice. That made Mom's brain go, uh-oh.
Dating.
There may be another man involved, yes.
And how do you have this doubt?
In a very short time frame, like maybe 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And then it became more doubtful as Earl started growing, and I noticed the difference.
So this has been a painful secret for you to just hold in your whole life. You've known this.
Erle is big sad now. He says he loved Maurice like a superhero, but no one told him the truth, and that stinks.
You feel like you deserve the truth.
Well, I would have to wait this long. Why would I have to wait this long? Who would have came, whoever would have came to me about it, whether it's her or Maurice, why would y'all come to me?
The reason why it's coming out now is that I can't live this life no more. It was happened to me. My mom was caught between 2 men.
Erle's girl Cynthia is not chill. She says Erle's acting different, and the kids feel it too. Then she yells at Mom big time.
We have a son and daughter together. Ever since he been going through this thing with his mother months ago when he found out, he's been distant with her, he's been distant with me, he's been distant with our children. The lie that she's been holding for almost 30 years, true enough, I can understand where Miss Jackie is coming from, but at the end of the day, you have to live with the decisions that you make.
Mom asks for a hug, and they cry like a sad movie. She says she loves him forever. Everyone claps like it's the end of a play.
She is a good person for my son. She's good. She's a good mother.
Maybe you needed to get that out, and maybe this court was just the place where you need to lay it on the table. With all of that said,
can I hug my son?
Of course you may hug your son, and then we can have the results. The man who has raised you for the past 29 years is not your biological father.
This court story started with total chaos. Monica brought her mom to figure out who her dad is, out of 13 possible guys. The court already tested 2 of them like it's a mystery game show.
Ms. Madrigal to court today because you claim she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today.
Monica says her mom kept giving her names like she was picking from a hat. The list grew and grew and got weirder each time. Her mom even joked, "Pick any man in Seattle."
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name, here's a name. I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
You couldn't narrow it down from 13?
You know, the 13 that she's named it's like 13 ghosts.
Monica says not having a dad made her feel super lost. Her mom didn't seem to care, saying, "You came from me, that's enough." Things got loud real quick.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my heritage. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I came from. I don't know nothing for the family. But that's only half the story.
Nobody else matters.
That's only half the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can, even though it doesn't even matter.
You raised
so
me?
save it. Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't. You weren't even there. So anyway.
Monica tried to forgive her mom using God stuff, but her mom snapped and called her the devil, like for real. The judge was like, did that just happen?
I have an ex that used to preach to me all the time about having to be close to my mom, and I wanted to be right with God. So therefore, she won't even
That's
allow.
a good one. Use God, you damn devil. Use God.
I'm the devil, man. You're the devil.
Because all this is unnecessary. It's all unnecessary. It really is. All this is for her to find out what she wants to know. That's what matters.
2 maybe dads were tested, Keith and Derek. Monica was like, nope, about Keith. Said he was creepy. Time to bring in the guys.
Your statement to the court says that you've met the 2 out of the 13 that the court has administered tests to. Mr. Keith McCraney and Mr. Derek Smith.
It's an evil smile and a happy smile.
An evil smile and a happy smile. Well, who's the evil smile for?
Keith.
So I take it we don't care for him.
I don't like him. I hate him with a passion.
Keith said they had a 3-minute thing. 3 minutes. He didn't know Monica existed until he saw her years later.
You know, we got together, she came over, she told me she thought I was sexy, whatever, good looking. We had sex, it was a 3-minute thing. You know, 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
She confirmed it.
And nothing but the truth.
Okay.
Monica met Keith when she was 13 and didn't like him at all. She even called him ugly in court. The judge had to shut it down.
I was 13 and I was going into 14. I stayed the night over with him and his girlfriend and her kids. Come to find out that one of her kids was his child, but that she was in question at the time and they had to be tested years later.
Everyone.
I'll never forget, I told my mom, I said, gotta be kidding me. I said, Mom, this ugly, my dad.
Now, wait a minute.
Monica lost it and cried hard. She yelled that nobody understands her pain. The judge tried to calm her down.
These guys, everybody's attacking me like I'm the one that was laying down sleeping with people. I'm the one that was made.
Miss Myers.
Okay?
Miss Myers, look at me. Look at me.
Because I shouldn't have to go through this. I'm 26 years old with my own kids.
It doesn't matter because I'm your mama and I'm your daddy and that's what I've been. So
No, you're not my daddy. You ain't my mama. You ain't no more my daddy.
Derek was chill and said he had a short thing with Monica's mom. He and Monica got along and hoped he was the dad. They even laughed about their big foreheads.
Around the age 19 to 20, we had a brief encounter of sex. And then one day I seen Samantha and she gave me a baby picture and told me that you're possibly the father of this child. And then I did not see her for quite a long time after that. One day I was coming out of a building. Samantha drove up with Monica in the backseat and said, there's your dad right there.
Derek is not the dad. Monica was crushed, but he still said he'd be there for her. It was super sweet and sad.
The DNA test results show that Mr. Smith, you are not Monica's father.
I never thought I'd have to hear that. I still love you, though.
It's okay.
I promise that.
Be there for you, okay?
Surprise.
It has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Every time somebody testifies of something in this courtroom, the first thing out your mouth is she's a lie. Now, I'm starting to believe you the lie. Now, you're gonna have to come up with some testimony in here. That makes some sense.
This was some months later. When I got to my apartment, I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I heard my closet door slide open. I heard somebody drug the bed and went in the closet. I said, oh no. When I got inside, I went right to the closet, opened the door. She standing up there naked. My man in my house.
This case is a roller coaster from the start. The judge introduces Hendricks versus Hendricks, and apparently, this isn't their first courtroom drama. Last time, Mrs. Hendricks accused her husband of cheating, but a lie detector cleared him. Now, Mr. Hendricks thinks she's the unfaithful one and doubts their newborn is his. Buckle up, because this is far from a normal paternity case.
Ms. Hendricks, you and your husband previously appeared in court because you suspected he was being unfaithful.
She was naked on the bed, and Chris was in there.
Oh, I'm perfectly aware of what's at stake.
There's the girls and then the baby. I mean,
you're expecting?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh
6
my!
months.
Mr. Hendricks was asked, had he had sex with his ex? What was his response?
His response was no.
Mr. Hendricks is convinced the baby isn't his. He doesn't feel a connection, says little Christopher doesn't resemble him, and wants a lie detector test. Mrs. Hendricks, furious, named the baby after him and his dad, yet he still doubts her. And just when you think it can't get worse, the real reason for his suspicion is revealed.
You say you confirmed your wife has been unfaithful and there is no way her child is yours. So you're also petitioning the court for a lie detector test to determine the extent of your wife's cheating.
I mean, I was very honest with him with what happened before, and he has taken it to the extent of denying our son. Named him after him, circumcised him, did everything.
Enter Facebook drama. Mrs. Hendricks found flirty messages from her husband's coworker, but instead of confronting him, she had her own revenge spree. Then life took a turn. She was diagnosed with cancer, which made everything emotional. Her response? Full YOLO mode, drinking, partying, and making questionable decisions. And this is just the beginning.
Last September, his Facebook messages were coming to my phone, and it was one of his coworkers. She was saying very sexual things to him. About 10 days later, I had found out that I had endometrial cancer, and I had gotten real sick. Whenever I was diagnosed with all of that, I just got very upset.
Things escalate. Mr. Hendricks accuses her of sneaky behavior, late nights, missing hours, and outright lying. A family member even calls her out, saying she admitted to cheating. Mrs. Hendricks denies everything except one drunk kiss. Just when it seems like the worst part, another twist drops.
We had everybody over at our house drinking. We had started working out our issues. I came into the room.
Miss Hendricks and a family member.
And a family member.
Okay.
I was like, so what is it that you're supposed to tell me? And she says nothing. And she looks at this family member, says, I put it on such and such's grave that nothing happened. And the family member looked at her and said, you're a bull-faced liar. You came to my house that very next night and said you did it.
4 months later, Mrs. Hendricks gets an unexpected pregnancy reveal. Mr. Hendricks immediately suspects something fishy. They had been struggling to conceive before, so he questions how she got pregnant so easily now. She credits weight loss, but he isn't convinced. His doubts are about to get even deeper.
I found out I was pregnant 4 months later.
We went through extensive fertility medicine to have our 4-year-old daughter. Tried for 5 years. Unprotected sex. So 4 years after we have our first daughter, she winds up pregnant.
I don't find that fair whenever he's bringing up the treatments I went through, because I was 170 pounds more, and the doctor even told you if I'd lose weight, it'd be a lot easier for me to get pregnant.
But you didn't for 4 years.
Mr. Hendricks becomes a full-time detective. He insists the baby has no resemblance to him and even pays for a 4D ultrasound just to check. Mrs. Hendricks is exasperated, insisting the baby looks just like him. The judge watches, probably wondering why they're debating a fetus's face. Then the case takes a medical turn.
I even went to the extent we went and paid for a 4D ultrasound just to see if there were any kind of characteristics that looked like me.
And he looks just like you.
All I see is
I mean,
blob.
even in a 4D.
Well, you can see the nose and eyes, but it was too early. I was very concerned. I wanted to know right then.
I mean, we fought over these pictures so much because he's like, I don't think he looks like me. I said, how do you figure?
Just when you think science won't get involved, bam! The baby has a blood disorder, and Mr. Hendricks sees it as more proof. Since their older daughter never had it, he's convinced something's off. Mrs. Hendricks argues it's a random medical issue, but he's stuck on this. Time for an expert opinion.
It went to the extent when we were in the hospital, when he was born, he was not breathing for 1.5 minutes. Finds out he's got a blood disorder. Is crazy because it's fighting with her blood. But the more I got to thinking about it, none of my other kids have ever had this problem. Our 4-year-old daughter does not have this problem.
And so you're wondering if potentially this has something, the fact that the baby may have another biological father.
Correct.
Dr. Jamila Gator enters with the facts. She She explains that a mother's blood can sometimes clash with the baby's, and it doesn't mean the dad isn't the father. The judge says, see, science says relax. But does Mr. Hendricks listen? Nope. He's even more emotional now.
Like DNA, blood type is passed down from parent to child. And so typically in ABO incompatibility, the mother has type O, the baby has a different type. And what happens is the mother's body sees that blood as foreign, and the baby can get very sick. Typically, the blood supply between mom and baby are kept separate, but we do know in almost every pregnancy that cells do pass back forth.
This part is heartbreaking. Mr. Hendricks gets emotional, talking about how much he loves his family. He calls them his solar system, and now feels like his universe is collapsing. The judge takes a moment, letting it sink in, and then the moment of truth arrives.
This family is my planet. It's what I breathe. This one here just completes my solar system, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you want this to be your child?
130%. I want them to be mine, so we could be happy again. Put all this, BS behind us and go forward, be a family.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
The judge opens the envelope. Boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hendricks, you are the father. I told you.
Oh man, this case was wild from the start. Judge Lake introduces Kidd versus Rawlings, where Mr. Kidd claims he was tricked into fatherhood. Ms. Rawlings insists he always knew the truth. And trust me, this is just the beginning of the madness.
Mr. Kidd, you say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive you are her son's father.
Mr. Kidd came in ready to fight. He says Ms. Rawlings sent letters saying he was going to be a dad, and he never doubted it. But oh boy, just wait until you hear her side of the story.
When this first started off, she came to me and told me that he was mine. She was sending me letters when I was gone.
And so you were away when she found out she was pregnant?
I went away a month after she found out she was pregnant.
Did you tell him it was his child, Ms. Rawlings?
No, Your Honor.
This part was straight up messy. Ms. Rawlings says she met Mr. Kidd while also dating another guy. Things got complicated fast, and let's just say this drama is far from over.
We met through a mutual friend. I didn't know anything about Mr. Kidd starting off. My mutual friend ended up leaving, and the situation that I was in, I didn't have anywhere to go. That's how me and Mr. Kidd ended up having relations, because I was staying with him. Everything progressed and everything started off. Somehow another female came into the picture. I went off and did my own thing and was dealing with him and another gentleman also.
This had the whole courtroom confused. Ms. Rawlings says Mr. Kidd told her he had a rare condition that made having kids impossible. But just wait, it gets even weirder.
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form blood disease and that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
He had a rare blood disease.
No.
And if he got you pregnant, the baby would not be able to be carried full term?
Jaw drop moment. Ms. Jenkins saw a baby picture and thought it was a prank. The baby looked just like Mr. Kidd. From that moment, she was sure she had a grandson. No DNA test needed, according to her.
I got a phone call from my daughter, and she said, Mom, you need to look at this picture. Who got my son's baby pictures? She said, that's not your son. I said, yes, that is. I gave birth to him. I know who he is. She said, that's his son. And I was like, what? Hold on. No. Why am I just now hearing about this? So I contacted his friend who gave me Miss Rawlings' number. We talked for a couple weeks, and I asked if I could see the baby, and she said yes.
The audience lost it here. Judge Lake shows baby pictures of Mr. Kidd and Nathaniel. Ms. Jenkins swears the baby has the family lips, the ultimate proof, apparently. But Ms. Rawlings isn't backing down.
And when you look at these pictures, what do you see?
My son.
Your son on the left, and that's Nathaniel on the right. And you really believe, as you look at those pictures, that's your grandson. And as we take a look at the second picture, it's Mr. Kidd as a teen and Nathaniel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he has my lips.
You think they look exactly alike, minus your lips, those are your lips.
He's got my lips.
This part was kind of sweet. Ms. Rawlings let Ms. Jenkins visit the baby, even though she didn't believe Mr. Kidd was the dad. But with all this drama, you know things were about to go left.
Me being me as a mother, and I wasn't able to grow up with my father. Mr. Kidd can't see the moments that he's missing. At least his mom will be able to have them, and his family has some story to tell.
As you stand here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Drama turns into what is even happening. Ms. Jenkins had custody of the baby for over a month. She even had a handwritten note. Ms. Rawlings says she just needed help, but things only got crazier.
I had him for a period of time. You took him back. We went through that phase, and now we're back at the point where you're sending me pictures every day again. She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe. She wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together. She gave me the baby. a period of time with a
How long?
I had him for a month and a couple days.
Science steps in. Dr. Gator says Mr. Kidd's condition could have made him infertile, but not for sure. Suddenly, everyone in the courtroom is questioning everything.
So I think there's two separate issues here. There was an issue about Rh blood incompatibility.
Yes.
And that has to do with a mother and a baby, and if there's different blood types between the father of the baby, positive and negative. And so there are various childhood infections from mumps to repeated urinary tract infections to STIs like gonorrhea and chlamydia. Those can makes it difficult for you to emit sperm.
The tension was unreal. Judge Lake asks if this new info changes Ms. Rawlings' mind, but nope. She still says Mr. Kidd isn't the father, but it's time for the moment of truth.
So, Ms. Rawlings, after you've heard the testimony of the doctor, does that change your mind in terms of your belief? Because when you came in, you don't really think he's the biological father.
No, ma'am.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kidd, you are the father.
Oh boy, this is a mess before it even starts. Mr. Calhoun says Ms. Prout tricked him into thinking he was her baby's dad. He insists it's impossible since she was with other guys. Ms. Prout says he's only denying it because of child support, and things are about to get spicy.
You say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. You claim that you are positive that Mr. Calhoun is Amaya's father, and the only reason he is denying her is because you put him on child support.
This is the ultimate I'm not ready for a relationship moment. He says they were just friends, but when she caught feelings, he ghosted her, except for those late night calls. Judge Lake isn't buying it, and neither is anyone else. Instead of digging out, he just keeps digging deeper.
Me and Miss Prout have been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things, I cut her off. I just kind of pushed away from her. I stopped calling, stopped answering her calls and texts, pretty much ignored her existence.
Because she wanted to get serious.
Because she wanted to get serious, yes, ma'am.
Finding out you're pregnant is stressful, but this was pure chaos. Ms. Prout told Mr. Calhoun, and they both freaked out. He wanted a DNA test, but now he says he blocked her because she was crazy. Oh, so she was fine for the fun part, but now she's crazy? The math isn't mathing.
Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted. The next day, I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
That I was pregnant. He said he didn't believe me, but he wanted a DNA test. Somewhere in there, you believed that I was pregnant because you wanted a DNA test.
Just when you think it can't get worse, Mr. Calhoun claims Ms. Prout took fertility meds to trap him. The audience nearly falls out of their seats as she loudly denies it. If looks could eliminate, we'd need an ambulance. And trust me, this isn't even his wildest claim.
After I found out that she said she was pregnant, I blocked her on all social media and everything because I thought she was crazy. She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
That's a bunch of bull.
Oh, did you say that, Ms. Prout?
No, Your Honor, I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms.
Ms. Prout pulls out a whole calendar, marking the exact dates they hooked up twice. The dates line up, proving he's the dad, but Mr. Calhoun isn't convinced. He insists she was with other guys, and instead of solving anything, the calendar just makes it worse.
The red indicates the date you were intimate with Mr. Calhoun twice.
Unprotected.
And the yellow indicates the window of conception. So as you can see, the day you said you had sex with Mr. Calhoun falls directly in the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why you believe he is the father of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
The audience gasps. Mr. Calhoun says she admitted being with another guy right before they hooked up. Ms. Prout smirks and says it was actually weeks before. Judge Lake is side-eyeing both of them, and things are about to get even more uncomfortable.
You don't believe you were intimate on July 20th?
There's no issue with the dates, but I'm saying I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those days.
Really?
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me she was having sex with a dude all the way up until the day of the July 24th.
Oh!
Mr. Calhoun had no contact during the pregnancy, but showed up for the birth. She asked him to sign the birth certificate, and though he wanted a DNA test, he signed anyway. Later, he found out the hospital actually did DNA tests. Regret on his face? Priceless.
How did you get on the birth certificate?
I got on the birth certificate because upon getting a call from Kia, remember, I never had any contact with Kia for the whole 9 months she was pregnant.
So you didn't have any contact?
No contact. I get a call from Kia on the day her water is broken. She's saying,
no, you did not get a call.
You have a daughter being born. Do you want to come up here and see your daughter being born? I came to the hospital just to see if she was pregnant.
Facebook always stirs the pot. Someone sent Mr. Calhoun a screenshot of another guy commenting on baby pictures. When he called Ms. Prout, she told him, "You're the stupid one that signed the papers." The audience lost it, and honestly, same.
It's the situation with Facebook. This is barely 3 weeks after she's born. It's brought to my attention, hey, there's some guy next to your baby's picture, and there's comments up under it. Everybody is saying like, hey, this is his baby. Why are you telling these people that this is the father when we just talked on the phone? I'm Amaya's father, that this dude is nothing to her. She tells me, she says, you're the stupid one that signed the papers. I told you that wasn't your daughter.
Really?
Ms. Prout's own godsister takes the stand and says she was already pregnant before reconnecting with Mr. Calhoun. She noticed the mood swings and attitude changes early. Ms. Prout just smirks like, oh well, girl, what?
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, my godsister was already pregnant because of her demeanor. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course. A week later, she took a pregnancy test. That's not enough time to consider him a possibility.
Judge Lake opens the envelope.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Oh boy, this case is a disaster waiting to happen. Ms. Jackson drags her ex, Mr. Brown, to court, claiming he's the father of her 26-year-old daughter, Tanika. His wife, Ms. Brown, isn't having it and yells, "That's a lie, Your Honor!" Oh, and there's a child support bill bigger than college tuition, $20,624.08. Buckle up.
Ms. Jackson, you've dragged your ex-boyfriend to court to prove he fathered your 26-year-old daughter, Tanika. You claim he's denied her since birth because you were caught in a love triangle with him and his wife.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
1 week ago, you reopened your child support case in which you state Mr. Brown owes you $20,624.08.
Yes, Your Honor.
Flashback to 26 years ago at the club, where the chaos began. Ms. Jackson met Mr. Brown while dancing, but surprise, his wife was there too. When asked, he said, oh, she's just a friend. Later that night, he sneaked back, and let's just say, things got messy real fast.
I met him at the club, and we started talking, we started dancing. He told me he'll be back. When he left with his wife, Miss Brown, I asked him who she was. He told me if she was just a friend. So he came back to the club. We danced, we partied, and then we went to the apartment.
Not mine. No, that's a lie. That's
it was
a lie.
Apartment, Your Honor.
It wasn't my apartment.
It was their apartment.
Ms. Brown went looking for her missing husband, but he was nowhere to be found. His car was outside, so she knew he was there. Turns out he was hiding in the club bathroom with another woman. She banged on the door, and when it opened, bam, caught red-handed. And trust me, it gets worse.
The first time I caught them together was at the club. Like I couldn't find him anywhere. So I walked around the parking lot looking, he wasn't out there. He wasn't in the club. I said, well, there was one place he could be because his car was still outside. So I knocked on the door, the bathroom. I said, open this door. He cracked it a little bit. So when I pushed it open, she in there, done him in the bathroom. But I told her, I said, you can go.
Months later, Ms. Brown came home to find her closet door moving. Either she had a ghost or a really bad cheater. She opened it and boom, Ms. Jackson was inside, completely naked. That's right, her husband hid his mistress in the closet. At this point, he should have just packed up and moved to another state.
After that, this was some months later, when I got to my apartment, I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I heard my closet door slide open. I heard somebody grab the bed and went in the closet. I said, oh no. When I got inside, I went right to the closet, opened the door. She standing up there naked, had my man in my house.
Mr. Brown didn't even try to deny it. He straight up admitted he was with both women. Did he use protection? Nope. But then he claimed, I don't think I'm the father, because he thought Ms. Jackson had other partners. Oh, so you can cheat, but she can't? Got it.
Were you sleeping with both of them without protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
So why do you deny that Tanika is your daughter?
Well, Your Honor, I've seen too many things happen. Like one morning, I thought she was at work. Come find out, she was out with another man. We was kind of like staying together.
Ms. Brown says Mr. Brown couldn't be the father since he was out of town for 3 months. She also claims Ms. Jackson refused a DNA test for years. But Ms. Jackson insists she was only with Mr. Brown. And just when you think it's over, boom, another plot twist.
She was supposed to have been born 3 months later than what she was born if he would have been there. He had been gone for 3 months, but instead she was born 3 months earlier. And every time, Your Honor, morning we asked her for a paternity test. She get mad.
Why do you think she's avoiding the test?
Cause she know it's not his daughter.
Was he acting like Tanika was his child?
Yes, Your
Was he
Honor.
excited about
Yes,
child?
Your Honor. He named her Tanika Lachey Brown.
Ms. Jackson whips out a birth certificate showing Mr. Brown as the father, but Ms. Brown isn't buying it. Turns out another man's name was there first because Ms. Jackson was married at the time. Mr. Brown still swears he never signed it, but Ms. Jackson has receipts.
This is a copy of your
my birth certificate.
That's the birth certificate that's a fake, Your Honor. That is a fraud. Her mama been lying to her, and she's sitting here and believing her. No.
So wait, on this birth certificate, it does say Dwight Stanley Brown.
He named me and he spelled the name.
He was with me doing the tag that birth certificate.
And named me.
Now, I do not see a signature on this birth certificate,
because he did not sign it.
Ms. Brown reveals they begged Ms. Jackson for a DNA test from 1990 to 2002, but she avoided it every time. The judge asks why, and Ms. Jackson pulls out a signed paternity document from 1990. Cue the gasps.
Okay, the first time was 1990. I paid money to have a test done for her. She didn't show up. Again, in the summer of 90. She said, "Let me keep calling me. That's an insult about DNA testing." Okay, then we went to Ms. Jackson again. Went up to the lab again to get a DNA testing. I paid my money. My husband didn't pay child support. I did. I took care of her.
That's true.
Ms. Jackson hands over proof that Mr. Brown admitted paternity years ago. Ms. Brown instantly calls it fake. The judge compares signatures, and things look suspicious. Mr. Brown denies signing it, but at this point, no one knows what's real.
This is a document signed by Dwight Stanley Brown.
Not my husband's signature.
Signed the 24th day of September 1990.
That is not my husband's signature there.
Ron,
there go right there, Dwight, on screen.
hand this to Mr. and Ms. Brown and let them look at that signature. From here. Is that your signature, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
After 26 years of drama, the results are in. The judge opens the envelope. Boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are her father.
Buckle up. This is wilder than a soap opera. Mr. Patterson storms into court, ready to prove he's DeMarcus Jr.'s dad. But Ms. Knight says, "Hold up, there's another guy." The courtroom is buzzing, and this mess is just getting started.
Mr. Patterson, you opened your case today to prove that you are 4-year-old DeMarcus Patterson Jr.'s biological father. You named him and have cared for your junior since birth and are furious the defendant now claims another man is his father.
Cue dramatic music. Patterson remembers baby DeMarcus Jr. looking at him and just knowing. He was so sure he was the dad. He tossed doubts out like trash. Little did he know, a storm was coming.
I've been there since birth, since he came out the womb, since he entered this world. When the doctor first held him up and finally gave him to him, I witnessed him just completely quit crying and looked me dead in my eyes. And at that moment, I knew I became someone's father. So at that moment, like all the doubts that we had before, I just knew like they were just out the window and just it was gonna leave us a happy family. But
it didn't happen that way.
Not exactly.
Plot twist. Ms. Knight admits she always told Patterson he might not be the dad. She had also been with Ladarius Sigler. Patterson kinda remembers, but he chose love over logic. Spoiler, this gets even wilder.
I let DeMarcus know when I got pregnant that there was a possibility that I could be pregnant by someone else.
So you were honest from the start?
From the beginning.
When she first told me she was pregnant, that's when we was like the house hopping thing, because when she moved out of her parents' house, she ain't had nowhere to go, so let her live there too.
I mean, that's how we started our relationship. We were together every day since then.
Awkward alert. Ms. Knight confesses she and Sigler ran out of protection, but went for it anyway. When she got pregnant, she told Patterson he might not be the dad, but Patterson, in full love mode, stuck around. Bad idea? Just wait.
We ended up having protected sex that night, and then we ran out of condoms, and while we were doing it, I told him to go ahead and get me pregnant. That's what I told him. And as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I called DeMarcus and let DeMarcus know, I'm pregnant right now, and it's a possibility that it's Ladarius' baby or your baby. DeMarcus told me to come home.
So you got back together with Mr. Patterson.
Because I love me and Ladarius.
The Lion King. Patterson was ready to hold up baby DeMarcus Jr. like Simba. He rushed Ms. Knight to the hospital. Full dad mode activated. Even after the doctor stole his big moment, he gave the baby his name. But doubts were lurking.
DeMarcus was there. He was there when my water broke. We woke him up, said, "Baby, my water broke. Time to go to the hospital." He hopped. All right, let's do this. So we was in the hospital that whole day. Had the baby. He didn't get to cut the umbilical cord because the doctor took it upon himself to cut it. When he had the baby, DeMarcus looked over, said, "That's my baby. We ain't naming him no Christian. We naming him DeMarcus Pat."
3 months in, Ms. Knight squinted at the baby. He looks like Ladarius. They debated, compared baby pics, and wondered about a DNA test. Patterson ignored it, still playing dad. Another plot twist ahead.
Well, it was a conversation between me and DeMarcus we had often. I mean, DJ turned about 3 months, and I looked at him one time, and I was like, wow, he kind of looked like
like Ladarius.
Oh, so you all were open about this?
Yes, always open. We would take rides to the gas station. He'd show me pictures of Ladarius. Like, you sure this ain't that?
I started seeing his ears slant out, and I was like, hold up. Just like, I don't know, though.
Now, things get real messy. Ms. Knight brings in Sigler's mom, who is also her godmother. That means Sigler is basically her godbrother. Courtroom, shook. Buckle up. It's not over yet.
My godmama.
That's Mr. Sigler's mother.
Right.
So that's the other guy's mother.
Right.
And so you said Miss Sigler is your godmother.
Right.
So the other possible father is your god brother?
Right.
Oh.
Ladarius.
Why are you making this look bad?
Lord.
Ms. Knight sees a baby picture of Sigler's family and has an uh-oh moment. DeMarcus Jr. looks exactly like them. She lets Sigler start bonding with the baby just in case. And now it's time for the ultimate showdown.
My godmama ended up sending me pictures of it, and me and DeMarcus actually was in the same vehicle at the same time when she sent this one picture. I looked at DeMarcus, he looked at me and was like, yo, that's DeMarcus,
And
that's
you
DJ
submitted
family.
that picture to the court. Miss Sigler as a baby.
The other one, that didn't do much for me. The other one did.
And this is DeMarcus Jr.
That's the one she sent me, and me and DeMarcus in the car and was like, that's DJ.
Dramatic entrance. Sigler walks in saying, yeah, that kid is mine. Turns out he knew about the pregnancy before Ms. Knight did. He even took her to confirm it, but then got cut out of the picture. Now, the kid calls both men daddy.
Do you believe you are DeMarcus Jr.'s biological father?
Yes, ma'am. I was the one who told her she was pregnant. And when I told her she was pregnant, she say, well, if you feel like that, take me to the clinic. So I did. So when we got back from that situation, we had conflict. She like, it could possibly be his. It could possibly be yours. So therefore now, like she say, all in water.
Men daddy. Yep, DeMarcus Jr. calls both guys daddy. Sigler swears the kid loves him, and Patterson looks defeated. The judge is exhausted. There's only one way to fix this mess. DNA test time.
And he was 3 months old when I first met DeMarcus. I did gang attachment to him as well, but I understood the situation. It come down to, is this baby? We want to know, he want to know. Before it get any farther, get out of hand, I don't want him growing up because he do know both of us. He do look at both of us like father.
Does he call you daddy too?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord.
Silence. Judge Lake reads the results. BAM.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Sigler.
Judge Lake introduces the case, saying Ms. Valdez-Lark's engagement to Mr. Slater is on pause until they figure out if he secretly made a baby with his ex, Ms. Pitts. This is the kind of drama that makes reality TV look boring. And trust me, it's just getting started.
Claim your engagement to your fiancé, Mr. Slater, is on hold until you determine today if he cheated on you and fathered his ex's 1-year-old daughter, Harmony.
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's a lot riding on today's results.
Your Honor.
Imagine just minding your business and suddenly a 12-year-old drops a baby bombshell on you. Ms. Valdez-Lark explains how she got a call in 2012 from Mr. Slater's 12-year-old daughter, which led to a very awkward conversation with Ms. Pitts, who straight up claimed Mr. Slater was her baby daddy. I mean, how do you even respond to that? Congrats? Are you sure? This was a disaster waiting to happen.
Back in September 2012, I received a phone call from their 12-year-old daughter stating that Ms. Pitts would like to speak with me. She said, I'm not calling you to be messy. I need to speak with you on a matter. She was like, I'm pregnant by Rob. So I'm like, that's a lie, Your Honor.
So not only is there baby drama, but adoption drama too. Ms. Pitts says she was planning to give the baby up for adoption, but she needed Mr. Slater's signature and surprise, surprise, she couldn't find him. Turns out tracking down a disappearing baby daddy is harder than getting customer service to answer the phone.
I was supposed to get my daughter up.
Ms. Pitts, you were considering adoption.
Yes, ma'am.
Etc. So you were making this call for that reason.
Yes, ma'am.
When you finally got him on the phone,
no, ma'am. She didn't even get him on the phone. She got me. He wasn't there.
Mr. Slater really walks in here acting like this is the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard. He swears up and down there's no way Harmony is his, because according to him, he hasn't been with Ms. Pitts in years and claims she's just obsessed with him. I mean, dude, if she was that obsessed with you, wouldn't she have picked someone who actually takes care of their kids?
Do you believe you're the father?
No.
You don't?
No, Your Honor, because I haven't had sex with her.
Why would she just come up with your name like you the father?
Because she obsessed with me. Everyone I talk to, she call him and tell him that I got her pregnant.
Oh, she's obsessed with you.
Yeah.
Watching Mr. Slater try to answer questions is like watching someone try to talk their way out of a speeding ticket. It's painful. He keeps saying he hasn't been with Ms. Pitts in a long time, but when Judge Lake asks for an exact time frame, suddenly his memory just poof disappears. Man's acting like this is a math test he didn't study for.
How long has it been since you slept with Ms. Pitts?
I can't remember, Your Honor.
Has it have been 6 months.
He can't even say that because his oldest daughter told him to his face in my presence that he was at his mother, in her mother's house.
If you lying was a drinking game, everyone in this courtroom would be passed out by now. Judge Lake is done playing and calls out Mr. Slater for calling everyone a liar, but never actually proving anything himself. At this point, even the audience is like, sir, do you know anything? Anything at all?
The first thing out your mouth is she's a lie. Now I'm starting to believe you the lie. Now you're gonna have to come up with some testimony in here that makes some sense. But every time they make a statement, they a lie.
And boom, the test results are in. And guess what?
Mr. Slater, you are her father.